getting the FOMC rate decision. So if you take a look at my screen here, we are expecting there will be no change. Previous number 4.5%, consensus and forecast here at 4.5%. Also, we're noting here we're going to be getting some interest rate projections here for the 1 year, 2 years out, the current interest rate projection, and the longer term interest rate projection. But I think the number we're really all going to be looking forward to as well, or not the number, but the event, Fed Chair Powell is going to be speaking here at 2:30 p.m. Apologies, this is a little bit behind. So it'll be 2:30 p.m. Eastern. In just about 45 minutes from now, we will get comments from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. So that could be really interesting here, regardless of what the Fed has to say when it comes to rates. The questions that he asks and how he answers them, we know these can move the market. So I think it'll be a really exciting event here for sure, Sharif.
Absolutely. And what Joseph and I were talking about during the midday is, does the whole revision of the GDP being revised down a few weeks ago actually change the narrative for the Fed? So if you were looking for strength in the economy to kind of keep rates where they are, well, things are changing. New data points are coming in with the tariffs on the horizon, definitely putting a possible ceiling here on the economic growth. So I want to hear what he has to say with respect to that. I know he commented on tariffs last time, but we're far more evolved. We've got certain percentages now we're talking about. We're talking about reciprocal tariffs. We're talking about tariffs specifically on certain industries, on certain countries. So the narrative's changed a little bit.
I think the fact that we haven't had any clarity on the tariff narrative, I think makes it even more intense here, Sharif. Like we keep saying it's going to be the big one, but I think now the next big one is going to be the April 2nd. I think you're right. Once April 2nd hits, hopefully we'll have some kind of better clarity provided. But the other thing I think is worth noting is that we did have, the market actually continued to buy up on it, but on Friday, we did have much higher than expected inflation expectations for the 1 year and the 5 year for Michigan consumer sentiment. Fed speakers, including Powell, have said they're looking really closely at these inflation expectations and at consumer sentiment. So with that in mind, I want to know what he has to say about that.
And Canada gave, we got CPI yesterday in Canada. It was far higher than expectations. Not saying that that's obviously going to happen in the United States, but there is some correspondence between both. So we'll have to wait and see whether that actually happens or not. Adara, let me know when we're going to the big boys. No, we're not going to the big boys. Oh, now.
We're not? Ha!
Us?
We are.
Us?
Hey, what up, everybody?
10 minutes.
So, yeah, 10 minutes to go until we get no change.
What's up, Randy?
Hey, what up, Randy? Absolutely no change. You're going to get a dot plot.
Are you excited?
Always excited.
No, you're like, no change. You're like, absolutely.
No, well, what you want to look for is there any change in expectations going forward? Like, I want to see, do we see a change in what's going to potentially happen in May? So you want to have the Fed watch tool up and check out May and June and see if there's any shift in that. Right now, you're getting like 84% at nothing for there. And I think you're going to see some shift in that regard. I want to hear from Powell if he's going to talk about the labor market and the economy. I think that's going to be big, but that's probably more of a 2:30 thing when he starts getting the Q&A. We're down this road before. I want the rubber band action in the first half an hour, and that just means I want to find names that you can play off of, I think, some defined ranges. Like I have SMCI up because it's had this clear 38.7, 39.4 level. It was long over it, short under it earlier. So play into that. So if there's an initial pop, look for a fade there. And ideally, if we had already popped, maybe we would have looked for a long in there. I'm in an Amazon reversion where I got back into it.
Reversion, huh?
And Amazon just started doing a weird drop. And it was just all red candles and a double bottom. So I had an initial long, got out, then got in on the break of the first long. So I want to play this into VWAP. That's a stock that I think if it gets up to 194, I'd look for a bit of a fade. And then after 230, look for the more directional trade.
Right.
Like after we get Powell on the podium, then worry about established trend and joining said trend. But I don't mind that shuffle back and forth in the first 20 to 30 minutes. That's for sure.
What's that Adam Sandler movie where there's a guy that always goes, pow? There's always a guy that's like, pow. Is it Happy Gilmore? There's somebody... Oh, man. I think maybe Step Brothers. The guy always is like...
I don't think it's Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, maybe not.
That's an underrated movie, Step Brothers.
Yeah, so the story was, so we went and got coffee, as we normally do. So you've never seen me with a small.
I was going to say.
Because I went in there, and I was like, okay, Roll Up the Rim is coming to an end in 4 days, and they don't have any more cups.
Gotcha.
So Randy used his free one, was right there. right? And I was like, oh my God, they have roll up the rim cups. So they had a stack of large cups and they had this on it, which is roll up the rim, right? And so the thing is like, there we go, right? So anyway, size does matter in a coffee situation. This is what my wife says. So then anyways, as we go on, the guy takes the cup off the stack, and this was the only roll up the rim cup there. So Randy's like, I got it. So this other lady's like, I'm like looking around the back. I'm like trying to figure out where all the cups are. And anyways, there was a little stack of small cups that had the roll up the rim. So I said, look, we're on a show.
Can't they just, well, go ahead.
Yeah, they can probably do lots of stuff. But I was like, we're on a show and we talk about roll up the rim. So I need that cup basically. And after all said and done, I got the small, he got the large. So we'll see if there's a winner abound with these cups.
Like, I'm so disappointed not to show how much I love Tim Hortons live on air with the large. Maybe you should just give me 2 smalls for the price of 1.
Right. She was going to do that. Yeah, Ramin was just saying that you could have just got like a large cup and then asked for this cup for free. And the lady was like, hey, do you just want the cup? Yeah. Remember, she was saying that. So, but I was like, I was a little discombobulated. Wait a minute, it's fed.
That's assuming there's actually coffee in there.
In mine?
Because Jerome's about to come.
Oh, yeah. No. We're going to be corrected on
Tesla.
This one. Go ahead. We just have TQs long.
Yeah, like right now.
Dangerous.
NVIDIA's in range. NVIDIA's been VWAP to 118, and there was a crazy. By the way, I was in the long when NVIDIA did that thing and got stopped out break even. I don't know what you want to call it. It got to 18. I was long at 117.30 and had to stop in when that happened at break even, and that wick happened, and I'm like, by the time I even got back to I was doing something else with an email and trying to figure out a ticket that I had in to the back office, and then all of a sudden came back, and I'm like, it's at the high. Went to revenge trade it, because that's what you do in that moment, and then thankfully I had a tight stop there. But 118 selling and change on NVIDIA is a nice, good range trade to work off of. I don't know about the VWAP bottom, but it has been holding it, so that's another. The level 2s I have up are NVIDIA, Amazon, Intel, and I was mentioning SMCI, and then we'll keep an eye on Tesla as well. But that's what I'm going to watch in the next 5 minutes. But I don't necessarily expect this to have a huge move initially.
I just have to make a couple things clear here. I don't really. Tim Hortons is it's not even a preference for my coffee. We're just doing this because we're competitive and we like to roll up the rim. Right there. So just a little bit of a heads up on why we're doing that. I mean,
it's free stuff. Why wouldn't
is it? I mean, yeah, it's free. It's frustratingly free because you never win. But shout out to Tim Hortons. They're right beside where we are. If anybody wants to send, I mean, this man loves the apple fritters.
They are.
I mean, the donuts at Tim Hortons much preferred over the coffee.
Outside of going to a farmer's market and getting a real apple fritter and pastry.
This is like a fast food.
They make a great apple fritter. I would eat them every single day if I could. I can. Actually, I shouldn't.
If you chose to.
No, I won't even walk in the Tim Hortons that's here.
It's like it's too
No,
much.
I will not go into a Tim Hortons unless I have a really good reason to, because I can't walk out without buying an apple fritter or Timbits. I can't do it.
That's called discipline.
I know myself. And I know because I won't, that I have to just not go in unless I'm going in to buy something for a good reason. And in trading is the same thing, man. Like if you know you're prone to overtrading at lunchtime or revenge trading, like that NVIDIA trade, I should have just got up after that instead of punching in and losing 20 cents, punching in that top. There was no need to do it. There was also an event, and we have 3 minutes to go here, but there were some comments regarding the next step in the crypto plan.
Okay.
And there was a huge volume spike on BTC, on IBIT, I should say, and Bitcoin as well. And then it lost VWAP. So I would suspect this is going to be in play. If we see some real movement there, I might flip over to Bitcoin, but I'm going to keep it in the pocket. Like I said, NVIDIA, Amazon. I'm holding Amazon to VWAP regardless because it was a reversion trade. So I'm just going to hold this. I have the offer in front of VWAP, and then we'll see what happens next couple of minutes. I mean, like I said, no change. We'll see what he says about GDP, see what he says about the labor market, see what he says about tariffs.
So as far as a trade, I think you just want to look at the strongest names or the weakest names and then play it off of that. Like Intel's real weak today. It was one of the #1 shorts that we had written down, and it's down 7%. So again, if it's a little bit of a pop, you're looking to short That's okay. It's cool. Maybe it's kind of like one of the, it's like I'm swearing. It's like an explicit there on the outside. But I was going to say that if the market does rip on nothing really, like, because it's as expected, I think you short a name like an Intel at VWAP there. And then NVIDIA is going to be my worst stock today, despite it being right at the level that we basically punched long. So yeah, that's a tough one for me to swallow here today with NVDA. But we'll wait to see, what kind of momentum comes in this next 3 minutes or so. NVIDIA, I think, being up 2%. If the market rallies that 1825, what a great punch that is as well, let alone a VWAP dip into 1730. So just stay pretty I'm in this. I'm in just a couple units right now of the TQs. Just came into some levels, so I wanted to try to buy. We already bought the dip here once. It was a monster trade. We're just trying to buy it again. Not as monstrous because we don't have the time on our side right now, but only 2 minutes to go until Fed. We are expecting no change. It's virtually 99%. So yeah. I'm only holding this just because I like the levels.
Imagine
like right here yeah, exactly. Imagine they lower the rates. I mean, that might just send the market in. I don't even know which way that would go. Normally it would go higher, but if they're lowering the rates, maybe the Fed then sees something in the economy that we're all not bracing for. So I'm not really sure. I just like the levels here on the TQs. We're holding this until stop out level at the low, which is 60.50. So if we break that, then we're out on that one. So, all right, man, we only have 1 minute to go. So we are excited for this. 1 minute to go until Adara says no change, and you just throw it right back here.
We don't quite have the answers yet, though. As Sean mentioned, we are expecting there will be no change. 99% of participants are pricing in no change, but just 1 minute left here, so we're going to go over what we're looking for. That interest rate decision, we are expecting, again, no change, so 4.5%. Then we're going to be getting, as well here, the FOMC economic projections, or the dot plot. Interest rate projection for the first year, so 1 year out, we're looking for 3.9%. 2 years, we're looking for a gradual decrease here, 3.4%. Current rate projection, we're expecting 4.4%, and for the interest rate projection in the longer term, it will be 3% here that we're looking for. So we just have about 30 seconds left till we get those numbers. And of course, stay tuned with us. We will give you everything once we get the actual statement itself. When that comes through, what changes were made between this statement and the previous statement. And then, of course, at 2:30 p.m., we are going to be getting Fed Chair Powell himself with that press conference. So big moment here, just about 15 seconds remaining until we get all of these numbers. We're going to start, of course, here with the interest rate decision itself. That number that likely will be 4.5%. 10-second count right now, guys. Let's wait and find out what happens here, Sharif. We're thinking
absolutely.
No cut.
Well, it's 99% certain that we're actually going to have no change. But the June 30th number now, over 50%.
And we're getting the number right now here. It's coming out. No change.
Yourself.
So no change here for the rate. I'm going to go over the rest of these numbers here. The median rate forecast 3% versus 3.1% forecast. Median rate forecast 2 years 3.1% versus 3.1% previous. Fed median rate forecast over the next year 3.375%. So all of these forecasts, with the exception of the long run, are actually in line with estimates. The long run actually a little bit lower than the estimate, which is pretty good. We're expecting basically in the long run slightly lower inflation than we initially expected. So just to go over that again, no change for the rates. Generally no change for the median rate forecast, but the long run forecast a little bit lower. If I see any rate statements, I'll let you guys know.
All right, we're up 100 points. Boys, what's the look over there?
Yeah, here we go. It's a big time. Look right there. Thanks, Adara. Thanks, Sharif, right here, because here we go. Let's go back to the trading. Now $1. We just ripped up right there on the futures. So there's that candle that you're all looking for. So there we go to the upside, man. Holding on to that long. Definitely paying off right now. Huge move to the upside right now. We're in it for this. I mean, as expected, we're buying this on the levels, right? Levels still matter as you come right back up into this level again. Looking for $1. We'll take what we get and not get upset. Big time trading right there now on the futures, man. That's what we're talking about. Thank you, Mr. Powell. I mean, we always do well on these plays right there. Any update on your Amazon?
I got Phil on the offer. I'm buying dips on. Remember, we like NVIDIA inside range for the long. I want to buy the dip in front of VWAP because if it started here, I don't see any reason. We got what we expected, so just kind of go with the trend unless it breaks. So we're going to look for some rubber band action, which just means buy the dip. And I didn't find anything that's to sell the rip on that got to any levels, but I think we're going to go back to Adara, see if there's any change in the language on the statement, I suppose. But for now, look to buy the dip on range. As initial move to the upside, I saw nothing I wanted to fade. Intel didn't get there.
Yeah, we have this SE. We got the summary of economic projections here coming out. December projection here was 2.1%. Now, apparently, the median for 2025 for GDP is going to be 1.7%. So it is worth noting here, PCE and core PCE now being projected slightly higher on the median for 2025 versus their December projection. I think that certainly is of note. So looks like there could be a little bit higher inflation expected. It's also worth noting here, according to these the FOMC median forecast, we're seeing 50 basis points of rate cuts in 2025 to end the year at roughly 3.9%. So 50 basis points of rate cuts expected over the next year. That would be either one 50 basis point cut or two 25 basis point cuts.
And the statement here adds a new part. Uncertainty around economic outlook has increased. That's obviously as a result of the tariffs. Market reacting differently, though. This is the dot plot, guys. We're going to have a look at this for you guys. A new economic projection of the Federal Reserve Board members' rate assumptions. So we'll cover that for you guys on the next little hit. Guys, what's a look?
Well, I mean, first of all, the dot plot, the last dot plot that they released was completely way off. So, I mean, the last dot plot gave us like a projection of like 8 cuts or something. And
it was a bunch of cuts for this year.
Yeah, and so we will see, as Sharif was mentioning there, we'll get the updated dot plot, see how that looks right now. But hey, man, I mean, we just got to wait for Powell to take those questions now. We're already cruising, man. I mean, this is a big one right there. As we'll go diamond hands. Thanks for all the nice talk there in the chat as well. As we just look to support this level, right? I mean, it's not much else. We bought that dip right there. The press conference coming up right now. We'll get Powell on the podium, 2:30, not right now, 2:30, but once that comes up, then we'll hear some more talk, and then he'll leave the podium, and then we can probably see a market flush off of that. But let's just get the Fed's opinion here. So I actually punched a little bit out when I heard Sharif mention that about economic uncertainty there. So I got a little bit out right there, but I want to hold for a little bit higher, man. Like that 61.60, we didn't stop out, but it just went up there again. So I'm going to put an offer up there for 5%. I do have another one basically in the 80s up here near day's high. So we'll see if this wants to play out for us, but so far so good. Monster move upside, but we did cash out. Like we only now have, I'd have to look back. Okay, so let's just say in what we had, we're now out of 70% of what we had. So let's be patient with it if we can and wait to see what comes next, right? So dot plot, we'll hear that from Sharif and Adara. They'll go through that, explain that a little bit more. But so far, so good here. Thanks for watching. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. It's a no change Fed rate there. So what we're waiting for. Look, 50, so all they're saying right now is 50 basis points of rate cuts in 2025. That's it. So the last dot plot showed 8 cuts this year. So now you're only getting 50 basis points in 2025, then another.
I think that's what the market was expecting.
Right.
So.
Then another 50 in 26. So maybe, I mean, that's not huge, right? Down 1 point from here. But you know what? It does show that inflation potentially under control. So we'll hear more from Powell. And for right now, we'll hear more from A.
Again, we're going to go over here this dot plot. So here's a look at the visual. About 4% of participants not seeing any cuts this year. Or sorry, not 4%. 4 participants seeing no cuts this year. 4 participants actually seeing, again, a 1 basis point cut. Well, quite the majority here are actually seeing that 2 basis point cut, which, as mentioned here, we're pricing in about a 50 basis point cuts throughout the year likely. Also worth noting, I just heard in my ear, apparently the CME Fed Watch tool is now showing 62% of traders pricing in 1 cut in June above 57% before this announcement. So a slight uptick in the amount of traders expecting a June cut. What's also interesting here too is it tends to get a little bit wider. We see the uncertainty as you go into 2026, 2027, and 2028. There's a lot of variance between these different rates that people are expecting going forward. It's also worth noting here, Sharif did mention some of the language here in the statement, but the key thing is not only did they add there is some uncertainty around the economic outlook, they also got rid of the statement where it says that the risks to achieving their employment and inflation goals are in balance. They're not seeing these risks as in balance anymore, which I think is pretty key, Sharif.
Absolutely, Adira. And what really was striking to me here on the dot plot was essentially you almost have a 50-50 split with how many people are projecting 0 cuts to a quarter cut versus how many are looking at 2. So if we could show the chart over here, you have 4 at 4.5, 4 at 4 1/4, and then 9 basically saying we're going to drop into that 370 or 4 area. So yeah, it's an interesting look. And then you have the 2 dovish guys here waiting at 375. Obviously, that is for full year 2025. So we'll keep you guys apprised of anything that comes out again.
I almost wanted to think.
Oh, I was gonna say that's a Rorschach test. It's a top hat with a couple of eyes on the far left. There was a rocket ship on the right. I couldn't really figure out what the two in the middle meant. And then if you could interpret that, then you're better than me. Two things. One, I'm into buying the dip on Nvidia, but Amazon, I don't think I will not be taking another long in Amazon, I don't think. Because the market held VWAP, Amazon lost VWAP and almost got to the low of the day there. So there's something wrong with Amazon.
Big time.
And I don't know. It's just, I would expect a little more strength out of Amazon. That's all. And the fact that it's right back at the lows when you're not getting that big of a pullback in the overall market. Let me just zoom back in here. Yeah, I think there's something wrong with it. So I want to be trying to get long into this higher low. The wick on Nvidia, about 117.5, 117.60 is the bottom, and then top here 118.80 or so. So I think it needs to break the $0.50 to get out, but want longs in that range into at least 119, and then the 120 is a big resistance level on this name as well. The other thing of note for me is Intel never got to VWAP. I kind of threw an order in there when the market was going up. It didn't go. If it gets there, I think we look for a little bit of a short on Intel. It's the one stock that sets up, I think, down 6% today, that sets up for some short trading.
There we go.
Because everything else is so strong.
Yeah, good call.
Sorry, Amazon is weak. But.
Well, remember, that was the call. I said if you're going to short anything, go over to Intel. We talked about that before the number even came out. So good look right there. Oh boy. What's up, Obi? He's in the background. Here goes the futures, man. I mean, this is by far going to be the number one P&L name for me today. And we've really just been these aren't shorts. I just had too many offers up here. What we're thinking we're going to rip. So they're coded short sell for now. They'll fix themselves overnight when it all gets sorted out in the laundry. But right into here, 61.70. So we were just going, again, early shorts busted, right? Then long off the same level, we went long again. Now we just got up into the 200 period moving average. I did see someone there in the chat. I mean, you know, again, traders, we got to be alike on some of this stuff. And I thought that it was right here. Where was it? The market will crash. Here it is, Oscar. What's up, Oscar? I don't think you're far away from that being right. Like right now, Jay Lee, and I'm just waiting to hear from Madera, but they had talked about maybe there was some inflation worries here moving forward. So that, once Powell gets in front of the mic there, that's really for me like the issue, because we know that he's just a puppet for Trump, and I know that's not the way it's supposed to be, but you're going to hear from Donald Trump probably immediately right now. He's going to probably demand for lower rates. Not that that matters to Powell. I mean, it's just, and I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth. I'm actually going to get out another piece right here if I can on these futures at 32. There it is. We'll take another piece out. We're at the 200 period. I could just see that maybe not much happening. If we can go, they don't need to see the chart. We can just sort of talk about this. We're going to wait to see here what winds up happening with Powell and then that inflation talk. I think that's the next piece. I'm not too worried about the dot plot because I was really surprised. I don't know about you, but you weren't here, but
yeah, I was gone.
The CPI and the PPI were actually fine. They were cool numbers. So they kept inflation in check. So I'm interested to hear, is there a different tone now from Powell than the numbers that we actually got last Wednesday, Thursday. So that's going to be something really interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing from Powell at 2:30. Again, it's a prepared speech. Before we go back over it, so by the way, this is working. The other name that I was hesitant to buy, and we should have bought it, was Apple. Like Apple just made a beautiful little move there into the downside and just bounced off at 214, real clean like you didn't even have to, you had to hold that against you 20 cents. Like I think that was well worth it, man. And on the 5-minute chart, right there, right on the 200 period moving average. Not that means anything. It's more about the 214. So we'll have a look there as well. There it is, man. It is now $1, 100 handles right there on the TQs, man. Patience pays. And today it's paying financially. So let's go back over, see what Adara's up to.
I'm going to mention there, Sean, because you did talk about the CPI projections. We actually have PCE inflation now actually expected a little bit higher, same with the core, than what we were seeing for the December projection. So this is the summary of economic projection released by the Fed. 2.7 we're now seeing here for 2025 for PCE versus 2.5 in December. For core PCE, they're now expecting 2.8 versus 2.5 back in December. So inflation expectations a bit higher than expected. GDP change a little bit lower here than our December expectations. So in just 3 months, a little bit has changed with how the Fed is seeing inflation going forward this year. Back to you.
Good look, and thanks for that. I think that's a big thing. What are they going to say about the economy? That's what I care about. And when I say they, it's going to be mostly, obviously, Powell in a bit. But where's my line? There it is. So yet 119 was yesterday's high on NVIDIA. So buy the dip, sell it in front of the high of the day, and then try to rinse and repeat. I'm still going to offer Intel. As long as the market's not breaking out the top and we're not doing anything new, I'm still going to look for the short on Intel at VWAP. It's almost there. So I think we have a chance. We'll reload NVIDIA if it comes back down, as long as it's before 230, where we might change our plan. And I still want to short Intel. As long as it's before Powell's on the podium, want to stay in the pocket here and keep the same ideas as before. I still have IBIT just to see if there's anything happening, and there is. So Bitcoin catching a bit of a bid here. All kinds of support at, it's 47.7 on IBIT, whatever that works out to. I'm watching IBIT, so morning support holding really well on this. I'm going to throw that up instead of SMCI. So that'll be the other name that I'm watching.
Oh boy.
That's what'll be NVIDIA, which is at the high of the day. We got in, we got out. But I want to get IBIT on dips too. If we get another opportunity, that VWAP would be a nice hold.
All right. Yeah, the market just keeps on pumping higher here. Up now 1%. I'd hate to have been right and called the bottom earlier on today, this morning. I mean, I like to be right, but, you know, I didn't buy anything today. Up 1%, far from a bottom, obviously. We're just kind of joking about that, but it's a nice move. Upside. We just covered a bunch there at the high of the day. So, like, we were sitting there. I mean, the high of the day is 62, but we just got a 75. Like, to me, you got all this garbage up here on the chart, Ramin, and then we cover that, and then we get back up to the upside. That's where my next fill is, but we're getting lighter and lighter. We only had a third left, and now we only have about 25% left. So let's go, man. I mean, the 200 period was there, then these past resistance levels were there, and now we'll wait to see if we can get just a little bit higher. Let's check out how the banks are doing, right? I mean, instead of buying XLF, I went in there. We'll look at XLF quickly. I went in there and sort of loaded up and actually bought too many shares of JP Morgan. So that's been something that I've been a little nervous about heading into there. I was almost going to lighten up the last couple days, but happy to see a little bit of a bounce back. It looks like we should have just bought XLF. I feel like it's probably doing better. We literally bought JPM like right here just a couple days ago. So yeah, it's a nice bounce back there. I don't know what is, I didn't even look at JP Morgan yet today. I'm kind of trying not to really look. Okay, so up 2%. So that's, I'll probably get out of a little bit. Make sure you do sub, like, and subscribe to this. But JP Morgan, you guys, I mean, I got a message the other day about, is there anything in the long term that I've been recently bought? I was on X. I told that individual that I just bought JP Morgan and been buying the dip in the SPY. But, you know, the SPY, which is, of course, the index itself, hasn't really done much. I mean, sure, it's, look, nice off the very bottom, but at the end of the day, like, unless you bought in the last 3 days, you're still going to be red on this. So we'll wait to see if it gets above the 200 period. I don't think we need to get like uber excited to get into this name or the market at all right now. Let's see what happens with Powell, but the futures are now going upside. Remember, we're waiting at 93s. It just touched out at 83s. So a little bit higher than that, we'll grab it. We talked about Apple, the other name that people were worried about. I didn't look at Tesla all day, but the level that I was looking at was 228. To come in. We talked about that earlier. The bottom today, right, so it hasn't gotten there. This is from the morning when we looked at it the first time, 229 change right there hitting. So yeah, just Tesla, we talked about possibly a barcode day. Everyone was wondering why was it not on the sticky note? Why did we not make any notes about Tesla? This is pretty much why. That's a great move up to 237, but still, we'll take up 4%. Just kind of like a quiet 4% right there on Tesla. I mean, I can finish at any time, but just right here, just NVIDIA. I know you're just looking at that. This is going to be my worst stock of the day, despite just loading up the longs right there, and then eventually it popped. But we didn't buy that bottom, so we got stopped out once it broke 116.50 there, close to the bottom. But there goes NVIDIA, man. That was a big stock for us today.
It was a huge offer at 19 that it just chewed through. Then a refresher.
There's the futures.
It's gone. It's absolutely gone now. You know what? I don't know if I want to stand in front of the Intel short. Not timing. I don't like it. I absolutely don't like it at all. 2 NY cent. there, and you're asking about QBTS, the quant names are going to be in play. Remember, tomorrow, wow. Here, I'll answer your quantum question in a second, because NVIDIA just broke yesterday's top just now. So it's continuing to rally. I still want to buy dips. I don't want to change the plan of action. I want to grab IBIT. I canceled my order on Intel. And the only reason I canceled the order is I didn't want like that spike that we just saw to just kind of fill me up. But you know what? Intel's not going. So the fact that it didn't make any move now, I might just throw it back in. Like if you can't even go more than 3 cents to the upside, when I just saw NVIDIA go like a bat out of you know what, IBIT's at the high, NASDAQ's at the high, then I should be in this, just wet the beak and give it to this prior high here. So I'm going to get in. I'd cancel the order, but I'm just going to get into it. And nibble in, give it to VWAP in here because that was the only short that I liked. Regarding quantum names, QBTS, I was in a reversion trade on this to VWAP. It worked and then trailed out before we came back onto air, just around the break even. I think these are great squeeze candidates in the general sense. Just remember, it's NVIDIA's quantum day tomorrow.
Right.
So I'm not advocating anybody swing these things, but they were down a bunch and then held on to like prior day highs. And the last time it reverted off this bottom, it did get to the top. I think you want to buy it at 10 though. That's where I was in it earlier, was when it was trying to get back through 10. I'm not chasing the move, but if you happen to already be in it, I mean, the market's going up. I don't see why you wouldn't give a shot to hold it. You know, give it some room to work if you're already in it. I was in it, but I got out of QBTS at VWAP.
Yeah. Come on, Jerome. At the end of the day, we're just waiting for Mr. Powell to hit the podium and then wait to see what happens after that. So, yeah, so far so good, man. A lot of good talk here today. Thanks for watching. I mean, stay with us. The market's going to get even crazier than where it is right now. We have Jerome Powell coming at 2:30 with his prepared speech. And right now, man, we are long and we are damn strong right now in this market as we continue to go a little bit higher. This is perfect, man. I mean, this is kind of what we're looking for. Tomorrow's going to be a very important day. I mean, I know we're only at today, but tomorrow, the second act of all this is, do they believe what Powell's about to say? And tomorrow, whatever happens today, happens today. The algos will turn on. Let's see what happens tomorrow. But for right now, we are obviously right in this long. And there it is, man, 100 handles right off the bottom. We go upside, man. We're at day's high. We really like it. I am really upset. Not upset, but this was the move that we were hoping for NVIDIA all day, like up 3%. It's too bad that we were part of that dip down there. That was really disappointing. But at the end of the day here, we'll go long. Palantir, I mean, look at this trade on Palantir. Would you take a look at that? Short 85.30, out 83s. We didn't have a huge piece, but there it is to the downside. That was the bottom. So sometimes, like I said, you'll miss on some, you'll win on others. It's all about that ratio. And at the end of the day, are you green or not? And share sizing, right? So Palantir looking like it's the top of the day as well. Look at this bouncing off the 200 period. That would have been a great idea. T-minus 10 minutes, Adara.
Yeah, we're getting really excited here for Fed Chair Powell to take the stage once again. I do have some comments on things we want to talk about. Sharif and I were just saying here, Bitcoin looking really strong. This is the 15-minute chart for BTC, making these higher lows into this key resistance area just around that 85,000 level. Looks like this just popped up with the overall strength of the market on the rate decision. But speaking of rates, I do want to bring up the CME Fed Watch tool. We've talked about it a little bit. I have not shown it, though, since the decision. So this is June. I was hearing in my ear immediately after the decision. Apparently 62% of participants were pricing in a 25 basis point cut. That's clearly dropped a bit in the minute since now. 53% flat here of participants are expecting that cut. So, and 10.3% of participants apparently even expecting a 50 basis point cut. So that could be interesting here for June. When you go to May, which is going to be the next meeting, though, we still overwhelmingly have participants expecting no change. 81.2% of participants expecting no cut. 18.6% expecting one 25 basis point cut, and 0.2% expecting that we'll actually get a 50 basis point cut. It's worth noting, too, we're getting some comments coming through from Diane Swank, who's an economist working for KPMG. She's saying that it's not likely for the Fed to cut until early 2026, saying it's actually extremely low probability that the Fed will be cutting in May. So that's one person's opinion. You've also seen the CME Fed Watch's opinion as well, as we await very eagerly Fed Chair Powell.
And with respect to actually getting rid of some of the paper that the Fed has been holding. They're now reducing their run rate to about $5 billion a month, slowing that down a bit. So we'll keep an eye out on that. I also want to mention that the Fed rate tool over here, with respect to June, right before we got the number, Adair, was actually 51%. It's bumped up a little bit to 53%. I was looking at this before we got the number, so not much of a change there. We're talking about 2%, not a big deal there. But as Adair mentioned, that May meeting, again, we have the reciprocal tariffs coming in April 4th, so there will be new data for them to chew on when they sit down in May. We'll see if that changes things, Adara.
Oh, indeed, we will.
Yeah, well, they always say data dependent, so you know it is going to change. I was asked in the chat about what do I think about the death cross on NVIDIA. One, it hasn't happened yet on the daily chart. Two, I'm not a huge fan of, and the death cross simply means a 50-period moving average crossing the 200-period moving average to the downside. I've never been a huge fan of it. What I do like about a death cross, if it happens, is you make a death cross, like say that cross happens tomorrow or today or whatever it might be. I then like a breakout because people use that as an indication for a short. So if it then breaks out the local high, I think there's some momentum for the people that are just getting into the short off the death cross that you can take advantage of and get a little bit of a pop. But I don't use that. I've never really used that indicator personally. And it also, like I said, it hasn't happened yet. NVIDIA, it's there. But if it doesn't and people are anticipating instead of participating, then maybe you get a little extra juice to the upside because of that. So we have just under 7 minutes until Powell hits the podium. Remember, I forget how long he usually is on there, but he's taking a bunch of questions. Ideally, I don't think you want to fight any trend. Like I'll short Intel to VWAP, but if market just trends up after he's on the podium, then I only want longs, and vice versa. Like I don't want to be dip buying anything if we just start making lower highs and lower lows after he hits the podium. I still want to try to get the lows here if we can on NVIDIA or on BTC or Bitcoin or IBIT, I should say. I keep saying BTC on IBIT. But it doesn't seem like it wants to crack underneath VWAP. Clearly, the buyers came in at 47.7, and I think that's the spot that I still want to wait for. And still a few minutes for that to be able to come in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to think like, let me just get another piece out right here because, again, we have enough bullets to keep on firing and firing and firing and firing. But at the end of the day, you can't keep on firing. Like, you're going to have to think about when Powell comes on. And thank you, Jay Lee. Adara mentioned this as well there about sort of the inflation targets. Now, as CPI, PPI looks like they've gotten a little hotter. So, excuse me, I got to get a water. Yeah, just kind of thinking that those are going to be the questions that are asked right there. So we've already, so we have like 15% left of this trade. So that's the thing. I don't want to stop out immediately, but I am thinking about it, like 61.20. Like if we tank 50 cents here because Powell start yapping, I'm fine with it because it's only 15% left. But at the same time, I'm gonna get another 2.5%. All right, so I'm just gonna get out. Darn it, missed it. See, you offer. All right. Oh, actually, we got filled. Okay, so we actually got filled at 72. So we actually now have about little under 12% left of this trade. So we'll get out, we'll talk, we're going to not just talk a big game, but we're going to try to, trade off of our thought as well. So out right now, let's wait to see what Powell has. Small piece left, we'll play the game. I like Marvell for the long term. I mean, I'm really happy with the decision that we made, obviously buying JP Morgan, but I was thinking that this is a name that's just been beat up a lot down here into some nice levels. I don't want to forget about this. Yeah, down half, right? Down 50%, like 130 down to 70 right there for Marvell. And again, I like the name. I like the space. They're in some automation as far as cars and that chip game as well. So we'll find out more about Marvell Technologies and a little bit of work need to be done there. But this is looking like a good trade.
You know what's really cool about them?
There goes the futures again.
You get them under 20 forward PE.
Is that what it is?
On Marvell.
I mean, this is why, I'm not just a handsome face,
I like, we're talking about Google. Alphabet's another opportunity where you get them in the teens.
Yep.
In the
18,
teens. 18. It's historically fantastic. So there's not a ton happening. We have 3 minutes to go until Powell hits the podium. I got first cover on Intel. We'll reload it in front of VWAP before he goes, or I guess comes on, because he's going to be on there for at least 40. Usually it's like 35 sometimes even an hour, depending on how long it gets, and play it to the range. It's been VWAP to 24 on the stock, so want to play inside of that range. NVIDIA is pulling back, so maybe this is the chance that it pulls at least to 118.
Short, I think.
Ideally, underneath that would be the place. The only other, so I was saying, well, I don't want to reload Amazon. That was wrong, because Amazon's now back at VWAP. It looked really weak, but I don't wonder if this isn't an opportunity for a short. It just, Amazon was so weak for leading into this this print that if we roll over and start trending down, instead of just Intel, I want to look at Amazon as a short possibility. So, you know, I'm going to look for longs in NVIDIA continuously off of VWAP as long as it holds it. But yeah, if Amazon loses the bid here when Powell hits the podium, it was so weak earlier. If it goes red again, I think I'd want to join in on that party. Now let's go to the desk with Adara.
Yeah, I was just going to remind you all, Powell is taking the podium now in just a couple minutes. We will get comments from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. First, he reads a prepared statement that will populate on social media pretty much immediately, and we're going to see market reaction to that right away. But what's going to get more interesting is the Q&A. This is the part that is the wild card. So if there's anything particularly interesting or market moving that we get in his prepared statement, I will let you guys know. But those comments are going to come out as he speaks, even though it gets released ahead of time. So just let you keep you guys posted on that. We do have just 1 minute left, or 2 minutes left now until we get that Q&A or conference started. Back to you.
Netflix, I mean, a lot of these names, Netflix up 3% today. That was a huge, I mean, Netflix was an absolutely monstrous buy there off the bottom. Like, there was absolutely nothing wrong with this name, and this is not a tariff-related name. I mean, look at Netflix here, 850 the bottom, all the way to 950, like, boom. Like, that's a... You know, that's a great move there on a name where I don't think there's anything wrong at all with Netflix. I don't care what the PE is, actually. Like, I love everything they're doing with live sports. That Jake Paul Tyson fight proved everything they needed to prove. And then also NFL and WWE. I mean, come on. They have everything. I like Netflix. I'm actually embarrassed to say that we did not pick anything up down there. I think that was probably the play. I wanted to see what's going on. Just a safe play again. Just like that's the most
long-term buy. They've won the streaming wars.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they won a long time ago. That's why I'm saying like it's just
over.
like
it's over.
It's over. Like that was a big one there. Now, I mean, look, streaming will be popular for a while. Needless to say. All right. So here we go. Less than 1 minute. I put an offer up at the top just to see if it does come in. We are watching out for this. I mean, we were thinking about this play, which is why we have that 11. Actually, less than about. Actually, we have about 10% left. I think it's a little bit less, but we'll just call it 10% there on this play. We'll see if it fades back. I don't mind rebuying that bottom, but it's going to have to be down there before I do anything. I'm not going to buy VWAP or anything like that. Let's just let the market settle down here and figure that out. Meta, Affirm, SMCI. Let me check out SMCI. I didn't pay for shorts, but 39.20, again, another name that's been upside. This is why we're not really looking at too many of these names. There's not much happening. We're waiting for a more dramatic move to kick in. We're already long, and we've already hit that. We just looked at Alibaba. Amazon's relatively weak. What else is happening? There's SPY. The Apple, okay, so the Apple trade, if anything goes a little bit wonky here, Apple could be a good short as well, looking like it wants to break that level there, 213, 214. So here we go, man. Powell's going to be up on the podium very, very soon. Now that it is 2:30, he's never, there he is. I was going to say he's always pretty on time right there. So we'll get it all figured out. The economy is strong, Powell's saying right now. We obviously have it up there. You can read it, or maybe you can't, because that the graphics. Let's get rid of the SPY and the Q. That doesn't matter. I mean, on our page, we have that up all the time anyways. But there, yeah, that's better. Okay, so here we go, man. Labor market condition is solid right now as he continues to talk. We're still long the TQQs. So here we go, man. Let's take advantage a little bit. Inflation remaining elevated, fine. We already know about that. We got those numbers. So far, so good, man. Let's just hold out that this continues to make the moves higher, right? I mean, we're here for this long. I'm thinking about short. Okay, so they're making the technical decision to slow the pace on their balance sheet. So anyways, as this more and more comes, you'll see it on there. We'll get it in our ear. Anything that happens, yeah, exactly. That should be bullish. So
I punched out of Intel on this, so.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, like if you slow the decline of your balance sheet, I mean, that should be good. Right? That should be bullish. Anyways, if you're not going to get to the bottom, Powell's turning things a little bit here, so going to get out and try to rinse and repeat at 24.5 on that name. There was no dip in NVIDIA that was deep enough. Yeah, it just could not get anywhere near those prior lows. So you're right back in. Couple scalp trades, one long, one short have worked out. So we're going to keep on doing it. Buy the dips and sell the rips on. Well, I'm only selling rips on Intel. That's the only one.
Yep, there it is, man. Nice move up now, more than $1 as we continue to climb higher and higher. We said we got in. Here we go. Unemployment rate is in a narrow range. Perfect. Right there, 62 and change. We're waiting at we're actually waiting at 61.98 for another piece to get out. Another one. Right there, and a bang as well. So there it goes, man. Nice trading there. I mean, I hope you're rocking with me. We talked about how we're love trading the futures right here today. Let's just keep on that and just keep going high side right now. By far, I'm up like 7-8 times my next stock here on the futures. So far, so good here as we just continue to watch this just print, man. Brrr goes the money printer there. Let's play a little Sharif and Adara game right now. He's wearing a purple tie, Neil. So maybe that purple tie means bullish.
Can't even tell. Because we're blocking it. Yeah, I like purple. I don't know, I wore a purple shirt yesterday, but...
I only say that because obviously it has nothing to do with anything right there. So we'll see Sharif in deep red today, and you can see the market could still. No, it's okay. I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about high fashion, man. We're not talking about the market. We've already got the long. If you want trades, man, you found the right spot. I mean, we're long the futures. We're crushing these names right here. Neil's out. I don't even know what you were just in.
I was short and covered.
Perfect.
And at the turn, you know what? Look, Intel's not going up much, but we managed to catch that bottom. It's the only stock right now that I will look short because it's been an absolute dog. So as long as the pattern's been sell this thing at VWAP all day long, I know we just had Fed come out here, but until that changes, I think you just sort of go with it. If it gets there, it gets there. NVIDIA doesn't seem to want to dip. Oh, Tesla, that's the one. Look, man, Tesla is respecting VWAP as well. So I was never short Tesla. I was long, and that was a cover. I don't know why that would have coded purple, but it doesn't really matter. But I was never short Tesla. I had one trade to long side and then reloaded it. But VWAP's starting to look good on Tesla. If we can't pick up NVIDIA or IBIT on dips, then I might look over at Tesla. But NVIDIA is making higher lows at this point. So you can almost stick a fork in VWAP and start to look for some higher lows. Jameson, I haven't looked at ACHR or too many small caps today that weren't quantum names, but as things calm down, we can start to jump to those. Let's go back to Adara for another update.
Just keep an eye here on the market, of course. I think it's worth noting, just to recap some of the key points that Fed Chair Powell is saying, though, again, none of this is really a surprise. He is talking about the fact that the Fed, in their summary of economic projections, actually had a lower GDP expectation and higher PCE and core PCE expectations for 2025 than what we saw in their December summary of economic projections. Also, some highlights here. He is talking about how the current U.S. administration could lead to some economic uncertainty, specifically with regards to tariffs, and saying that the inflation expectations have recently moved up, as we saw here with Michigan consumer sentiment, with regards to tariffs likely driving that move. So Fed Chair Powell saying that tariffs could have and likely are playing a role here in some of this uncertainty we have in the market right now, or specifically with regards to rates. Back to you.
Chair Powell here says labor market not a source of inflationary pressures. So I think that's important because if they're not worried too much about the labor market, that's really the only thing that I'm worried about. People losing their jobs. Obviously, if you get the recession, that's not good with all the headlines that are going to hit like all over the place. But if people have their jobs, they're still spending, the consumer is still relatively strong. That's what sends the market cooking those puts right now. But yeah, market, I mean, he's just saying right now, market uncertainty, obviously highly elevated right now. Current administration applying some pressure on this. So we'll just wait to see. Here we go. If you can't. Yeah, so as long as the economy remains strong, then they're fine keeping the course. So we'll wait to see there. But there's a big trade, man. That 62.20. That's 150 handles right there on the NASDAQ. So, yeah, man, just continues to go higher. I'm probably just going to chill. I mean, we talked about Apple down there at 214. I mean, that's a name that could come into play again. It's just not relatively strong.
Which one's VWAP?
Green. Purple, yeah, VWAP's all way high. The other name that we lost on, so we only have two red stocks today, Amazon and NVIDIA. And this Amazon, look at this, long. you know, what are you going to do? 2 red stocks today. So far, so good, though. Let's just wait to see if we can get a little bit of a bump now in the market. I'm not sure if we get any higher than this. So we are starting to clear out. I mean, we got more and more outs at 62s. That's the high of the day. It just goes to show you, man, trade here, trade off your levels, and just be confident in them. We did have a stop plan in place if this was going to happen. And trust me, man, our stop was not 150 handles lower. So there it goes, man. Monster move. Really happy with it. Yeah, man, everybody that's there saying done for the day. Yeah, I mean, let's just sit back, relax. I mean, you can see I'm just in this one trade, and it's printing, man. Money gun go burr over here. What's up over there, Adara?
Here, I am going to be continuing to read some comments that I think are of note from Fed Chair Powell's prepared statement, which he is still giving. He did say, and I think this is pretty key, if the economy remains strong, the Fed is in a position where they can maintain policy restraint for longer. However, he noted that if the labor market shows any signs of weakening, they're going to be able to ease if needed. So they're in a position where they can react to what's happening. They have no problem maintaining this policy restraint if the economy stays strong. But if we see that weakening specifically in the labor market, they're in a position where they're able to cut. So interesting comments there coming from Powell, I think certainly of note, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. And appreciate the update there, Adara. So he's on the podium now, and we have an established trend, at least for now, double top on NVIDIA and higher lows. So I'm going to play it in front of, and this was the trend. That's 2 o'clock. So there's your candle. There was the dip buy on the higher low. Did miss this one. We'll go long, and if it breaks the trend, get out, but I don't want to go short it. I'm kind of back to thinking, like, this is until so weak. It's kind of silly. I will short another pop in here regardless. Unless something ridiculous is happening. Like, there's just no juice in this stock, so why not be short it if it's going to continue to be this bad? So like, got out, and it's exactly where we got out of it. I can't think of too much of a reason not to jump back into it. IBIT, not really giving me the entry yet. I'd still like to see it underneath VWAP and giving you 47.7 because that's where all that exuberance came in there. But yeah, I should be back into Intel 100%. And the only other short that I was thinking about was Amazon. But Amazon's still putting in some higher lows. If that breaks trend, Amazon's one that I would want to short if we actually lose this trend from 2 o'clock to the upside. Back to Adara again.
Just be aware here, he was immediately asked about tariff, Fed Chair Powell, for his first question for this Q&A, and he said it's going to be really difficult to tell what of inflation is coming from tariffs and what isn't. So saying there is likely to be an impact, but it's going to be almost impossible as of right now to discern what amount of the inflation is being impacted by tariffs. But he said, quote, clearly tariffs are part of it. So I think that's certainly something to be aware of here, guys. If we get any more tariff talk or other talk, I'll let you guys know.
And he said specifically that he can't differentiate currently the current rate of inflation from tariff and non-tariff related sources, so they don't have that data. So that's just one thing that we need to keep an eye on.
If you can't discern, how can you say it's clearly part of it? That's oxymoron. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, here it is right here. And he said, I just heard in my ear, impossible to tell about how much is going to be coming from this tariff. But we'll take another piece out right here. I mean, the tariffs haven't even taken effect yet.
That's what
So, you know, we still have April 2nd on our mind. I think by the time April 2nd comes around, you'll find that we pretty much have no tariffs. So that's, I'll wait. I think tariffs are going to be reasonable. I think it's a reasonable economic policy to implement tariffs. So let's just wait to see. You just said that they don't want to, the best case would be that there is no policy decision based on tariffs. So hopefully they'll get it all figured out right there. All right, maybe we'll start to look at some individual names now, just to see. Someone just said Palantir's down. We nailed Palantir today.
Palantir was at the highs.
Bang, that was a great trade for us on PLTR early. The highs into the lows, like that. That's almost like, that's one of the better trades I've made, period. But right there, 87, that wick high was 87.07. So I would say you want to wait for the 200 period. That's been sort of absorbed so far on Palantir. So that'd be 86. If you're short Palantir, maybe cover, you know, in and around 86.20, 86. I've often nailed the short once Powell leaves. So I'm debating that right now. I'm going to get another piece out here at 70s as we do that on the futures. We now have 5% left on this. And I might just... all right, I'm going to get out another piece here if we get it at 80s and then just hold a very, here it comes. There it is. Just get out now at 80 and hold a pretty small piece here because I'm actually thinking about flipping this up and going short. So that's one of the strengths that we have here on a prop floor, is to be able to change our mind. So we didn't change our. I mean, like I said, this is huge. The TQs today was huge, but we've just hit the tops. So where's the next play? I think the risk now is up. The risk is to the upside. I think the safer play is seeing about getting a short near day's high, just in case the answers don't come here and just says something that we don't like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, go. Well, that's a nice move up to 62. Okay, I'm going to take a piece out right there again. Yeah, what's going on with
NVIDIA broke trend and then came right back on the trend line. And the other thing is Intel broke the low of the day, so I'll stop the fail myself. No, I'm not in Intel short.
Oh.
We're going back to Adara. I got out of Intel and it went another percent and just broke the low of the day for sure. And someone asked a question, or someone was making comments about the whole tariff thing, the certainty. We'll get into that discussion when things slow down a little bit, but let's go back to Adara.
So that temporary little bounce here in the market, what happened here is Fed Chair Powell, when asked about inflation expectations, said the long-term inflation expectations are mostly well anchored, and he does not see much increase in these long-term expected inflation. So commenting here on some of these inflation expectations, saying that in the long term, he said they're pretty well balanced. So keep an eye on that as we get the market trying to break another high of day. Back to you.
My candle's wrong. Yeah, it did break the low of the day.
I was going to say, I know we want to get short Intel, that's for sure, but we had talked about the only short that we wanted all day was this Intel play, and it came right up. I even gave this trade. If we come over to the chart here, I said if Intel gets to VWAP, we should short it. We've just been sitting here on our hands watching this Qs trade. But the Qs trade is now 150 handles in the money, so that's going to be a good trade right into the bottom. I think that was the easiest, safest trade to make was Intel. No trade is easy. It's just that was up to VWAP, being down 7%. We did mention this trade.
It's held it since 8:20 in the morning. It's held VWAP.
Right, exactly. So that's too bad, because that right there, pretty good trade. All right, so here's I say that. Meanwhile, we just, infinitely took profits on this one here with the futures. But okay, let's just wait. I now have like that 2.5% left. We'll get it out when we see fit, but it might be right now, and then we can regroup. So nice trade to the upside there for the highs of the day. What do we think about Nike after close? Are they reporting
tomorrow?
After out? Oh, tomorrow.
Nike.
Okay, so,
who else is tomorrow? Somebody else.
Nobody else tonight.
FedEx is tomorrow. Micron.
Okay, good. All right, so we're into a couple good names.
Micron,
there.
maybe.
All right, so Bitcoin right now 84. Whoa.
There's another bounce.
All right, man. New highs. So there we go, man. Nice trade back up there to the upside. Obviously, we should have held it, but hey, man, hindsight. So we'll just wait to see what winds up happening now. Good look on that long. It's tough to predict this, but we did really well getting a lot out at the highs. And then just reading the chat, man, I feel like 50-50 on the chat, like you guys were thinking long, short. So I feel comfortable getting out, but, looking back at this trade, gold now, we just heard it in our ears. Gold now record highs right there. Yeah, look at this. GLD.
Yeah.
We take a look at that. Nice move right there to the upside for GLD.
What about IWM?
Boom. Wow. I'm just really like, this has just turned the day all around. Not turned the day all around, but really made us have some good feels here about the market one more time. So we jokingly mentioned yesterday with that Google. Remember we talked about as we opened up today, GOOGL. We said that wick down there that we didn't even notice until this morning on Google, right there, 150. We noticed it yesterday when we were trading it, but right there, 156. That's pretty good. That's not going to be a real wick right there, but that one could have signified, I don't want to call bottom, but like that's a good little level there yesterday. Gold continues to rip higher, man. All-time highs right now for GLD. So congratulations to Peter Schiff and everybody else. But there it goes, man. It's your chicken dinner winner of the day, man. $1.70 now. I know that you have NVIDIA, so hopefully that name continues to work out as well. But yeah, still good, man. Over an hour and 15 minutes left in this day.
We got plenty of time.
How high can we fly?
Yeah, at least as long as till he stays on the podium, I think, right? So what's the usual? I think it's like 30 to 45 minutes or something like that. And then we start to think about him wrapping it up. So I think you got plenty of time into Power Hour. I'm trying not to short the low of the day on Intel because I think that's FOMO, not being in it. But it's just, like, if it breaks the bottom, like, how nasty is this if we break 24 even? on Intel. There might be like a few million shares on that bit, but it's at the 200 period on the daily. So we'll stick back to the plan and kind of wait for a pop. I don't have the order in to break this at 24, but I'm suspecting there might be a scalp trade in there. But hitting that low doesn't make any sense.
1270.
We'll just go back to like maybe buying some dips. IBID is not nearly what we were expecting in terms of strength. It can't seem to break out the top. So it's very range bound in Bitcoin. Like we can't get through 85, essentially. We're at 84.4. We can't seem to break through 85,000. But you're just range bound from this VWAP till that top there. So maybe some scalp trading in there is going to make some sense. I need to make a decision whether I'm taking that break on Intel of the low at 24. It's at 24.08. There's already size at 05. So people are trying to stack longs in front of that even dollar level on Intel. I might take the break and just give it a really, really tight stop in there somewhere. But it's going to happen in the next few seconds, I do think. So it's like get the order in, you know what, or get off the pot. Because Intel looks like it's a bit of a dog here.
Yeah, that is for sure. Welcome, new viewers and subscribers. Thanks for joining us one more time here today. Likes, I don't know, I just hit the like button myself for the first time. Please hit the like and the subscribe if you're here and like what we're doing. Hit the like button. Tell YouTube that you found us, and let me see how many likes there are right now on the stream. 500 likes. We need to get that number a little northbound right there. 6,300 watching. Let's see if we can't pump these likes up. I'd like to see 1,000. So the next time I check this out, let's see 1,000. And remember,
Appreciate you, Randy.
What did you win, Randy?
Of course you won.
I haven't even tried it.
Okay.
Well,
That's right. I still have some coffee left, actually.
You definitely made it sound like you won. He plops it down like.
That's what I thought. I was like, oh gosh, here we go with the plop down right
He's good,
there.
man.
All right, 591. All right, Randy, we're going to do this live right now. So thank you for everybody hitting that like and that subscribe as we just continue to get longer here in the tooth on this market. Up now at day's high is the NASDAQ right now. Yeah, very, very dramatic music there. So we're happy with that. All right, Randy, tell us the good news, man. Do you have yourself a winner? Are you kidding me?
I knew he was going to win. You knew he was going to win.
You know that's supposed to be mine, my guy, over there. But there we go. Congratulations, Randy. Finally a winner. Okay, you ready for...
Yeah, but it has to be a higher percentage of larges that have wins on it, because why wouldn't you just do it that way? They want people to buy the bigger one.
I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, we're long the TQs. I could care less if this wins or not, but we'd like to see this be a winner. Lucky there's a little, if there wasn't anything left in here.
I'm just going to throw it out.
That's another L.
But he just took you.
An L, took an L. Took an L, but at least we're not an L on trading here today, right? I mean, so far so good, but congratulations, Randy, on that one. I still got the roll on the phone. We could do that, but every time we seem to do that, okay, here we go. Let's do the roll up on the phone. Let's just see if we can win on this one because, again, every time you buy a coffee, you get the cup and you get the roll up here on the phone. So let's go. All right. Neil, just push up on this cup. Just roll it up.
What, you want me to do it instead of you?
Yeah, man. Okay. What does that say? Are you kidding me? You won something. A Crave subscription for 2 months.
Crave?
Yeah, I don't actually. You want that? I
don't have Crave.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like one of the two things I don't pay for.
Nice. Okay, there it is. So Neil, you can have that. I'll email that to you.
That's hilarious.
Okay. I was gonna say we don't have Crave anymore either, but you rolled it up, so I'll give that.
No. If you don't have
No. I'll give it back to you. I'll give it back to you, my guy. There's some good shows on Crave.
No, but I was gonna pay for Crave to watch.
There we go. Look, man, I gotta give some.
Dragon. What the hell's that called?
Dragon's Den?
No,
Dragon.
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon. Well, now there you go, Neil. You can now watch House of the Dragon on your boy right there. So there it goes, man. Now you don't have to worry about punching short on Intel. This Crave will take care of that for you.
I think I'll probably still take a shot at it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just wanted to. I'm glad that you won that thing there. I just wanted another coffee just so I could say to Randy, at least I was able to win something there.
I'm not even a Tim Hortons. The way I see it, McDonald's.
Yeah.
They win, and I love the fact they used to do free coffees at McDonald's when they were doing Roll Up the Rim at Tim Hortons, and I used to grab McDonald's coffee almost every day where they were doing it. Just something in my eye there. Like I think I'm going to take the break. And again, I think you can go like really tight risk on this if it breaks. It's just you're not getting any bounce. Like everything else is riding the highs, and you're just flushing. So on this stock, so I feel like if we lose the bid, it's just an obvious take a shot at it. You look for a 24 down into like maybe 3/4, I should say, into the next level. So we're going to have that one locked and loaded. Someone asking, what is Crave? It's just a streaming service here. Crave's not in the U.S.?
No, Crave is.
It's just only Canadian, right?
Yeah, so what Crave does, it has.
Think of it like
I know what
HBO.
it has. Yeah, it has HBO Max.
Yeah,
it has
HBO.
all of those like
So
Stars and all that.
So I can rewatch The Wire.
Right,
which is
yes. They have Sopranos on there, obviously.
Greatest show in the history of television.
What, Sopranos?
The Wire. Sopranos top 10, but The Wire's better.
Right,
Sopranos is top 10.
No, cut that in half.
I've never made a top 10 list, so I haven't really thought too much about it. The Wire is my favorite show of all time.
Right. Sopranos is not.
I think I like
Sopranos is in
Bad.
everybody's top 5.
I think I like Breaking Bad maybe
Fine.
over it.
I'll give you that. I know you love The Wire, so that's why I'm kind of giving that to you.
That's 2.
Right. So, what else? I mean, it's not.
Seinfeld 3.
Okay, no. Oh, we're counting sitcoms?
If we're not counting sitcoms.
No. These are.
Well, then it's top 5. I can't. Yeah, you're probably right. I probably can't come up with 10 or 9. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head.
I mean, I think Sopranos. You know, the other thing was,
I like Game of Thrones more than I like Sopranos.
I never seen Game of Thrones. There it is, man. Yeah, the market is absolutely ripping. We're now 175 handles in the money on the small piece left. But there it goes, man. Yeah, we can hear you. All right, then let's go to Adara.
So we're going to just take a look here. Obviously, the market breaking higher. I want to talk about crypto, too, which is also breaking higher. This is MSTR or strategy. I brought this up near the end of the midday, which is when I first saw this coming out. But there are some people spreading this rumor on X, started by a reporter named Eleanor Terrett of Crypto America, saying that she's heard from unnamed sources that we're going to be getting a big update on Donald Trump's and his administration's crypto strategy soon. Again, those are just rumors, but it seems like about an hour later, we're seeing these heat up again on X. So keep an eye on crypto. In terms of the markets in general, we did have Fed Chair Powell saying that there can be situations where the Fed's goals are in tension, but also with regards to tariffs, saying that if there's an inflationary impulse that could go away on its own, it's not the right thing to tighten policies. This actually looks pretty good for the market here, saying that if it's a sign that if something could go away naturally, it's not a huge sign of ongoing changes, then they're not necessarily going to be needing to tighten the policy. Though he also added that progress on decreasing inflation has been delayed right now just due to the fact that we have tariffs and uncertainty. Back to you.
It was. The other thing was, what was the show, Johnny Drama? That was, I can't believe I can't remember the name. That
Entourage.
Entourage.
Oh, but Sopranos is way better than Entourage.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I say way better.
I'm just saying, like, another one that would be, my top 10 as far as shows. I think Entourage. I like Eastbound and Down. That's funny, but Danny Masterson's a little bit in trouble. Yeah, anyways. All right. I don't know.
I actually don't know.
Anyways, I was just saying. So now 200 handles right there, bang.
I have no idea.
Right there as the future's taking out those highs. I mean, it was up there into 65s for the day's high. I think we'll stop out of this 62.10. We'll stop out. So let's just change that. So we go from a stop order of $60.50, so 24 cents worth of risk on this trade to make 200. So this is a 10-to-1 right there at the end of the day. We don't have it all. I wish we did. $60.09. 62.09 right there, stop out. Now we can just sort of put that out there, ignore it, and just say whatever. If it fills, it fills. Now let's look to build up the portfolio somewhere else here. All right, so that's that. Palantir probably still ripping faces off. No, so that's actually only at $87 right now. That's actually maybe going the other way. Ooh. I'm getting a little bit of a feel of trying to think about going short maybe. That's 87 right there. For Palantir, I think we could almost go short against that wicked high of 87.10. I'd like to get this at 86.80, 86.90. I'm going to try a short in Palantir. I know that's against the grain right here, but we've seen this market fall down when Powell's left numerous times before. So we'll wait for that. I'll try it. Palantir, like I said in the chat, man, I have 3 winning stocks, 3 losing stocks today. But Palantir, we'll try to put it back. This is going to be one of the ones that we're up on right here. But here it is, right into this level. We'll put on one piece right in and around here. We'll take a small piece at 79. We're waiting at 85. That high is 87.10. And again, we just took 200 or so handles on the futures, 170. Let's just wait to see if the risk to reward is going to pan out for us here. So like 86.95 or so. We'll take a bit more here. Here we go, man. He is still on. The futures are dancing a little bit. There it is, man. There's the 200 handles right there for us on the futures as they continue higher. Let's short a little bit more Palantir, and then we'll just use that top of 87.10 as our stopping spot. So there it is, man. Sorry, that's the TQs going higher. Here's Palantir, just building a position. So it looks like we're going to get blasted here, but 87 right now. Look at our stop. Our stop is 15 cents right now. So NVIDIA's at the top as well.
When the futures got to 20,000, NVIDIA got to the $0.50 and stopped. Futures broke through 20,000. NVIDIA stopped at the $0.50, so I covered. Like it was, I keep trying to get rid of these wicks. I'm going to get rid of those. But the market's still going through the highs. NVIDIA is running into a bit of a churn here. I still want to short. I know I want to short Intel. So we grabbed out of that one. Load. You're barely even breaking up. I might just take the quarter instead of the $0.50 to get something. Because if the market's going this strong and you can't even, you can't raise anything,
right?
Then it's just ridiculous how weak the stock is. So again, I might just nibble in with a relatively tight stop to the 30 or something like that, and then just be willing to load into that level if it ends up getting there. But this stock is such a dog at this point. Forget about it. Tesla double top 237 as well. 237, yeah, 237 double top on Tesla. That's flying, and IBIT starting to make some moves. If we get any dip off this 119.5 on NVIDIA, then I'm going to jump back into the trend trade. I'm already sitting at 119 to re-enter the trade. We've been able to get back in for sure. But eventually, if you short Intel, I guess the market keeps going up. It can't go down forever, realistically.
Dara.
As we get this push higher, I think it's worth noting here, one of the things that Fed Chair Powell said that was of note was regarding the University of Michigan consumer sentiment, specifically the inflation expectations. I mentioned this number before we got the Fed rate decision, saying that it would be of note, and Fed Chair Powell was asked about it. He said that he interpreted this reading, which was much higher than expected, as an outlier. So Fed Chair Powell is saying nothing to worry about yet when it comes to that higher than expected inflation expectation from the University of Michigan survey, saying as of right now, it looks like it is an outlier, and we still have new highs in this market, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara, for all of that. Right there. We'll just go booyaka, because right now we'll wait to see what winds up happening. Let's turn around into a bear. Let's get bearish right now and see what winds up happening as we go short right now on Palantir. You know what? We could just cover this. Let's just cover our futures trade. Why not? Right there. We are now covered on that at the highs as we turn bearish, man. Can we be that trader that we're trying to be right now? Looking at an advantage here in Palantir. It just printed down 80s. That was fine. But again, we're waiting. So I don't... Powell could turn this market on its head. So our stop right now is 87.10. So we talked about that. We just took a piece out there at 86.80. So if we are able to get some more, fine. We'll take another piece at 86.80. But let's just see if it wants to drip down. I don't know, man. The market could really take off. But we only had a small piece left of the TQ. So we'll take those 200 handles exactly and get out there at 75s. And now we'll wait. This could get back up to the upside. We're not risking what we made on Palantir. We're just going to give a little bit back if it doesn't work. Tried to find a name at highs that we know if the market retraces, this name can retrace huge. We know that about Palantir, so I don't know if it's going to or not, but I think for the risk here, worth it. Here it goes. Hands off, man. You guys know where the stop is. Palantir looking to get higher. So I'm glad you're short back on Intel, but right now it looks like the market wants to go.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Because
market's still blasting.
Yeah, the market is absolutely blasting. NVIDIA finally chewed through that resistance point up there at 119.5. It's going to get 120. Someone in the chat was saying, no, it wasn't someone in the chat. It was Joe that was talking about the 120 being a key inflection point. You could have some trouble getting through that because you have a lot of open interest. But yeah, I don't think I'll reload. I said if we break fresh highs, then I shouldn't be shorting this anywhere except for VWAP. And yeah, they're going to stick to that plan. I'm probably not going to end up punching short at 24. As long as it holds under 24.20, I said the quarters, but we'll just tighten it up. If it holds even that, then we'll continue to be in the short there. But NVIDIA is not providing any kind of a dip buy. Tesla's absolutely gone. IBIT, Bitcoin, I should say, 85. What? Yeah, there's no. Yeah, 85,000 is now in the rear view. We're 85.5 on Bitcoin. So if we're trend up from Powell, we have, to me, until he leaves the podium. So if you want to join the trend long, there might be like one shot at a dip buy because it's past 3 o'clock. Because usually I'm starting to think you're at the end of this rally when he hits, sorry, not when he hits, when he's done the Q&A. So I know I like Intel for some short. There might be one chance to grab a dip buy and play it into the high here on IBIT because it has broken out. I haven't looked at Amazon or any of the other Mag 7 at this point. Someone just said Mara with a bunch of rocket ships. I'm going to assume Mara can only hold $12 for so long, but as long as it does, Bitcoin goes up, Mara is going to be good. Because $12, I don't like Mara, and I don't like the miners. Whoops, I still have a Bitcoin chart up I can just show you with the assumption, I'm assuming, there you go. It goes into 12. This went to 12.50. It went to 12.15 again, right before we came on. And it's now at 12.80. So yeah, Mara, rocket ship off the $12 level. As long as it holds this level, it's a good long down there.
Oh boy, look at Tesla. Like, I don't feel bad for my boy Joe. He knows what he's doing. But Tesla up 6% when the guy... This is the thing, like you never, and again, it's like when I said that I hated Tesla yesterday and we're like, sell it, I'm like, I can't, it's too far down. But again, you can never pick bottoms, but there goes Tesla. And I'm only bringing it up because everybody in the chat was like, wow, there goes Tesla. And yeah, taking out day's high for TSLA. We flipped up our game as well on Palantir. Like the best fill we have here is 42s or something. Oh, that's the high of the day, so it must have been 40s. We're waiting at 42 now, yeah. So we actually got 40s on this trade. We're gonna wait to see if we can get a little bit higher. I am nervous that this guy leaves the podium. If this drops below 87, then we're out. I just tried to flip it up, change a little bit. We did go short, right? We were able to take a little bit of profit at the first point, but then it blasted higher against us. So Palantir, that short does not pay out, but we flip it over into the long now and then see if we can't get a little bit of pay dirt right here. I'm offering at the high of the day 42. So if you see a 42 come through, then you know we'll get that fill. And then after that, man, breaking through 50s. But if we take out the 50-period moving average, that's going to be a negative sign for us as well. That's all the way down here at 86.70. I'm going to stop out if we break back down below 87. So it looks like it's starting to move now. He's still on there. But again, is the NASDAQ... Will we just revert back to what we've been doing every single day? Seems like anyways, selling into the close. So we'll wait to see, man. I mean, huge move up, 1.7%. You know, this gives people like Joe or anybody else that has decided to potentially sell, this is giving them that out right now because
if you want.
Now, yeah, you're up 4% on Palantir. You're up, what, 4 or 5% on NVIDIA.
6% on Tesla.
But yeah, Tesla's the one that we just looked at there. Yeah, so yeah, there's definitely some strength in this market right now, giving you some outs if you want it. The only
8% on SMCI, 7.5% on SMCI.
I mean,
so
Apple.
That's a different kind of stock.
Apple's been super weak, and that just rallied huge. Look where Apple is right now. I think if there's going to be a short, I'm in Palantir. I'm long Palantir, but this could be a short for Apple at VWAP. What about that if Powell turns this market on its head or if it goes down? What about a break of VWAP, 215.75, short side there for Apple? Okay, we did get a little bit. All right, we'll see if we can take out that 10 cents here at 29s. I don't know. We do know that Palantir can get going. We need a break, obviously, of 25. We're long right here at 20s. There it is, man. We'll take a 29 out. We'll see what now winds up happening here. As Palantir, man, just right back in the pocket. Comfortable, again, trading this name as we always are. Let's just wait to see what happens, man. We just got a couple outs there. Bought that 87 dip. Average price 17. Let's get going here a little bit on Palantir.
And guess where?
I'm not convinced, Charlie.
Again, Intel bounces right off the $24 level. So it's a wall. It's an even dollar. We're going to get out every single time it gets there. Next time it pops, probably won't short it near the low of the day because it's getting a really condensed range. And IBIT will take for the first time, or Bitcoin. Whoops, you didn't really see Intel.
Is he leaving? Oh, no.
Here. There. Intel hits the low. That's 1, 2, 3, like 4 times it's bounced off that bottom. So covering at that bottom and buying the dip in Bitcoin. So when you hear, if I accidentally say like IBIT, you know I mean, you know, big Bitcoin, whatever. I'm going to talk about IBIT prices, not Bitcoin prices. So buying it here, giving it to the $0.50, want to buy into that and see if it can't get into 49 as we go back to Adara for another update. He's still there.
It's worth noting here, I mean, the market's still pushing higher, but Fed Chair Powell did say something pretty interesting here, saying that some of the flatlining in Fed's projections, by that he means some of these I guess, higher than expected PCE and core PCE projections. We had the summary of economic projections. He's attributing this increase here from the December numbers to potential tariff-related uncertainties or pressures. So Fed Chair Powell acknowledging that some of these inflation expectations coming from the Fed themselves in their summary of economic projections, specifically with PCE, could potentially have something to do with tariffs, guys. Back to you.
87, 88. I mean, I think 88, 87, 70. I'm just trying to see like best case scenarios
88,
here.
88.
88, 88. Yeah, okay, we'll put some in. Oh, 88, 88.
Because
Okay,
Lindros is always seeing double vision. No, well, that's bad.
I mean, Crosby, yeah, that's true with the concussions, but Crosby
that's a
right
bad joke.
here,
I shouldn't use
87 even. Maybe you go to 87, 87. But here we go. You guys know this. I mean, we bought that dip. I think we did a good job of sort of explaining what our plan was on Palantir. So here we go. We are now at day's high again for Palantir. A little bit of a size there, but size in this case doesn't matter because this is 65. Here it goes. Ooh. It ate it up, but it still went downsides. We got to break
240.
Tesla 240. Okay.
Nvidia 120.
Yes.
Half a mil on the offer, 120. Tesla's broken through
We get
240.
42s.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, the market is obviously bullish. So yeah, you dump your shorts. I just saw someone say bottom is in. I'm kind of hoping it's not in yet because I was anticipating some great dip buying opportunities for the rest of the quarter. But it is what it is. IBIT, we just jumped in. We're going to take some out in front of 49. We're at 85.6. And I'll show you guys here. Usually I do this. I always say when in doubt, zoom out.
Yeah.
And then did not do that in this particular case. There is Bitcoin.
Let's go.
There is the breakout through that prior high. So you're in rarefied air. So that dip that we just had was like a dip back toward prior high. So dip it and rip it at this particular point. Not that that's an actual saying, but it works now. Nvidia moon, Tesla moon, SMCI moon, market moon, everything except for Intel moon. Oh, we have a button for that.
When moon. What is this? Oh, that's Randy's little cup.
I don't know why he left this thing instead of the win. No, but he left his win.
Oh, he always leaves it here because he loses them. So that's the thing.
He loses it, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's lost it now. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, I mean, now
not
there's some
stealing a
video
coffee
proof. But
from
yeah,
that.
no, he'll come back. He doesn't care.
Now back in high school, and you did that, I have no shame.
All right. Yeah, no, same way there. Get hydrated. I'm going to go get a water for my damn self right now. We are now 80 cents in the money on this reversal play for Palantir. Like, there it goes, man. That's exactly... Like, we can't...
Yeah, baby.
Neil and I just giving you guys trade ideas. I mean, what the shares you guys put on it, the shares, whatever anybody uses is up to yourself. But, you know, this is why I try... Oh, gosh. Okay, I mean, here we go. Remember we said, like, being able to flip up on trades and things like that? We're now at the highest spot we've ever been at today as gates of... hell, maybe not appropriate, but here we go. High 88. So you want to go some Lindros love? Let's just put some offers there. Just turned around from Eric, the great. We'll put an offer there at 88, the great 88, coming into play one more time. So there it goes, man. Here we go again. Let's go. All right, I'm going to get a water. I do have an offer there right now. So I have still a good size left, man. About 30% left of this position. I'm going to offer out 2.5% right here at 87s. Then go grab a water and hopefully come back and it's not in this area anymore, and we are through the great 88. There it is. Okay, I'm going to go get one. And
market is flying.
Yeah, my market is. I mean, look at this trade on the TQs. We got out. Silly me. We don't have a red candle since we got out. But guys, it's 300 almost handles. It is 300 handles in the money off of that bottom. Oh boy, to have held that. But it's Hydration Nation. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you got to stay hydrated. Obviously, we are probably running out of time, I do think, because in terms of Powell taking his Q&A, so want to make sure lock in profits. I mean, the only short has worked, but again, I'm not going to get back into this at this point. I always say, we talk about this all the time. Once he hits the podium, you don't want to fight any trends. So that meant dip buys, should have held on to Nvidia, didn't, but we jumped over to IBIT here. That's now at the high of the day. And as I said, you don't want to fight the trend. I didn't consider Intel short fighting the trend because it was making lower highs. Now I would consider it fighting the trend, unless he leaves the podium. If he leaves the podium, we get VWAP again, then I'm taking the trade. Almost no questions asked. But you're starting to run to that time where you can expect it. The other thing of note, sometimes you might see some imbalances. on a Fed day where we get this kind of volatility, and it is witching at the end of the week. So going to have the early lookup. There's a bunch of early looks at 310 that are over 1 million shares already. Like just a group of them. But remember, end of the week is index rebalancing for the S&P, and it is a Fed day. Like Ford's 4 million, HBE's 2 million. You got ChargePoint, BAC, NU, LUV. Like there's a ton of these over 1 million. I suspect these could be some big imbalances today, so we'll keep you guys abreast of those numbers. Let's go back to Adara.
Keep an eye here on the market. It's worth noting here, as we got that push to the upside, we had pretty interesting comments from Fed Chair Powell. He previously kind of dismissed or undermined these high inflation expectations coming from the University of Michigan, specifically short term. He further said that he's not dismissing the rise in short-term inflation expectations. It does exist, but he said there's, quote, no story of an increase in long-term expectations. So saying that, yes, there might be some uncertainty and some expectations of higher inflation short term. He's not, however, seeing that to be the case in the longer term here, guys. Back to you.
Old ones.
Oh, you don't have the
No, these are the AirPod Pros. These are the newest ones, but they disconnect when I go into the kitchen, so I didn't.
Oh.
I missed Adara right there quickly. So thanks, Adara, for all of that. But yeah, we do watch. I mean, I'm 20 feet from her, so it's not hard to hear her. All right, so we got a bunch more out there as we just sat back down and it was starting to break. So there is our 88 fill. We talked about that right there. Sorry, our 90 fill, whatever we got before we weren't patient with 88s. Then we just took a 75, and then we just took again another out here at 60s on that break. But here comes Palantir. Here comes the whole market to the downside. So Neil's still rocking with iBit long.
I missed Intel.
Okay, yeah, Intel.
It's such whatever. Every single time this thing pops, just wait for it to make any kind of a candle that even remotely looks bearish, and then just go short this stock. I'm also missing some data.
Oh, man, I want to go short something. Oh, it should be Intel. Yeah, we talked about that.
There was also...
oh, it just came back up. That's what you're talking about.
Apple was weak.
Yeah, there was another name. What else was that?
Not anymore, it's not. Apple above VWAP.
I know, it was at 216, right?
Not anymore. Apple's fine. Apple's doing absolutely fine. Back to... I did just grab a dip by an iBit, but it's... You know what? I'm going to give it, instead of giving it to the $0.50, I'm just going to give it to the prior bar low because he's going to leave the podium any second now, and I'm going to want to flip, and I don't want to be caught at the top of anything. Back to Adara.
Noting here that Fed Chair Powell was just asked when the Fed might be cutting rates or in May, or if that's a possibility. Fed Chair Powell said they're not going to be in any hurry to move on rate cuts. So we did get those comments as we get a push lower in the markets. Fed Chair Powell saying, once again, the Fed is in no hurry to move on these rate cuts, guys. Back to you.
All right, I mean,
no surprise there. I know somebody.
Fine with that.
I know somebody who doesn't agree with you on that one, Jerome. I'm not saying myself, but the president's not going to be happy with that.
Oh, the president, yeah.
It's not a...
He'll arrange a dinner, and then this guy will change his voice.
You know what? It's not a ridiculous plan to simultaneously try to do some austerity, so again that you're reducing debt. If you can get the rates lower, then you can, sort of refinance U.S. debt at lower rates, and then you'll be in such a great position. But then you have to thread the needle of, well, do you do too much austerity, and then you get like potential inflationary issues, not inflationary, but like a recession or problem like that. Other people have tried this. Many governments have done this kind of thing and tried to make it work. It's not crazy, but it's a tough ask. Like we were talking about in the midday, you're spending more money on on interest on the debt than you are on defense. That's wild.
Yeah, well, that debt is, the interest is only, and I mean, think about how much defense there is there. One of the largest spends there for
still like Lockheed
the government. But okay, so yeah, man. I mean, Palantir dipped down. We got a little bit out there at 50. Let's see if it wants to continue to go. I know Neil keeps on looking for this Intel short, but it doesn't mean I won't look for it too. I mean, I was thinking about this 2440. It came pretty. That's close enough for me. Like I'm almost thinking about right now of taking it. The only thing that's interesting to me is the futures are at 20,000. So I'd almost rather see this break to the downside to sort of confirm maybe a possible high there. For right now, though I'm not worried that Intel is going to like rip anybody's face off or anything here today. I just wonder if there is potentially a better short. And I was looking at Apple up there. That was a really nice wick top there to be considered anyways.
That's all right.
for that. So that could be a trade that eventually works out. Is that wick top there for Apple? Tesla. So that could be the short too. I mean, that's a name that, like we said, wow, okay, yeah, still up that 7%. There's a little bit of a pullback. Was looking for, I mean, there's some exhaustion there as well on those green candles all the way up to 241. So I think 241.50, that's going to be a good short. So if we can get a little bit of a bump up into 241, I think we'll look to short that. Palantir on the run up. I'm going to get out of a little bit more up here if we can get that 69, or we just missed it. Maybe we'll get it anyways. Uh-oh, Powell's still talking right now. It doesn't look like a replay of the 70s, so that's probably a good sign, I guess. But there it is, Palantir, nice out there at 70s. He's still taking, I mean, this is a long
It can't
time.
be, because you didn't get off, whatever. In the 70s, there was a big shift in policy with gold. So, yeah, it can't be the 70s again.
Well, I mean, things change so fast nowadays. Yeah. Like, this is maybe like one of the fastest corrections we ever had, like 2 weeks, down 10%. So I think things will be moving a lot. There's a lot more information now. There's a lot more, the ETFs and all that. But okay, I'm just waiting for this guy to come back in.
It's starting to get really choppy.
Yeah, I'm not sure what direction I want to take.
I don't disagree. Like, it's getting a lot more choppy. Like, just to give you an idea, it's already 317, but like the bounces off these levels, like I bet on a 3-minute, when it made a turn, it was going very quickly, like here, like 50 into 90s, right? So that's almost a full percentage. Now it's like inside and very choppy, and you're getting much more condensed moves. So that to me, last question apparently. So I'm not going to reload this again. I'm going to tighten up the stop, and maybe the market goes higher. But the usual thesis is when he leaves the podium, whatever trend we're in, I'll just get out, and it worked. Making some longs, NVIDIA worked, should have held on to it longer. IBITS worked for now, but I don't want to be buying any of these tops into the last like 30 minutes of the day when he leaves the podium. I just don't think that makes a ton of sense. So we'll get away from it at some point here. A spider face said fifth fastest correction in S&P history. I don't know, spider face in the chat appreciates you. I don't know if that's true. Probably ask like ChatGPT or Grok or whatever you're into, whether that's true or not. But yeah, I can believe that because it was a fast correction. But fifth fastest in history.
Hey man, no better time to talk about gold. I mean, we were just talking about it. Why don't we talk about Nevada right here? So in a world of market volatility, it's time to think defensively, although gold right now straight upside. NGLD offers gold exposure without the storage or mining headaches. With gold nearing $3,000 an ounce and actually taking that out, our low-cost royalty model shields you from operational expenses and safeguards profits when prices climb. By targeting Nevada, a top-tier geopolitically stable, important gold region, NGLT mitigates the risks of international mining, and through strategic aggregation and resale of smaller royalties, we pave a path to real shareholder returns. NGLD, the gold hedge built for today's uncertain market. So, look, great. Check those guys out. We just sort of talked about some of the advantages here of Powell leaving, and we've seen this make a move down. So we just got more out there of PLTR. I was debating this trade, buying a little bit into the dip here, 86.90, which is the 50-period moving average. Then he's gone. See ya. And then 86.80 would be our stop. So bye-bye, Jerome. Now we'll get to figure out where he's going. What's for lunch, Jerome Powell? But here we go. He's gone, so see you later. Now we'll wait to see what this market does. Look, I'm not really positioned for anything here. If it dips, because we're basically, we have less than 2% of Palantir. If this dips back in, I'm going long 86.90 on the 50-period moving average for Palantir, and then we'll only give that 10 cents. Like, I want it to come in, hit, then rip. About 15 cents or so worth of risk there for Palantir. So again, I hope you guys enjoy everything that we've been doing here. These are just some trades that we're looking at. I like it. I like this little dip down opportunity here. We did well for Palantir, man, taking and reversing into that long and then getting out up here. We were talking about Lindros 88s. We got some great outs, but here it comes right back in. So get ready for another long here on Palantir soon. Oh, Neil's not here. Okay. All right. Used to throwing back to him. All right. Looks like we might have, did we just miss that dip? I'm going to buy a small little piece here at 95s. All right, there it is. We get that long. Now let's wait to see what winds up happening. I do have a bigger buy at 86.90 with a stop. Probably too early, 86.79. So here it comes in. Looks like we are getting faded just a little bit here in this market as expected. So yeah, let's give it a second here. Palantir, there's the trade. We're long right now, 86.92 with a little bit. Oh, it's going to break. I'm going to give it a little bit lower. I'm going to give it to 86.74. All right, I'm changing that order right now, 86.74, because we're right there right now. So let's give it a go here and see what happens with the futures and Palantir.
Yeah, I'm now out of, I didn't reload IBIT. We're now out of it. Probably should have, I don't know, should have just taken it all out when it was showing you the lower high, but didn't. Intel is oddly enough not, the market pulls back a little bit and Intel just kind of stays sideways, but it doesn't always move rapidly. So it's as long as the market's coming back in, like in what world is the market coming back in and the stock is down 6%, shouldn't at least retest the lows? It's underneath VWAP, we'll stick with it. I promised you guys we would keep an eye on these imbalances. Ford's now 8 million to buy. I don't know CRH, that's 8 million to the buy side as well. GM is 2 million to buy. So remember, on Friday, it is witching on Friday an index for balancing, so we're seeing some big numbers. I'm going to, at some point, check to see if there's some kind of an action on, what is CRH? I don't even know what this is. CRH PLC. I don't know what this stock is, but that's a sizable imbalance, and it's only done 4.9 million shares, so that's huge. Maybe there's an index action. I'm going to go check our resources and tip at some point, but yeah, you're getting some decent ones. I wouldn't be surprised. Remember, this is all New York, early look imbalances. You won't see any of the Mag 7. They're all NASDAQ stocks. That'll populate at 350 live. We just get an early look on some of the NYSE names. And right now, it's kind of mixed, but they're all pretty big. Here,
Apple ARM. I was just looking. Yeah, so, I mean, you know, as quick as we could have, there's Palantir. Look, it's fine, the fact that it went here, but yeah, bless you. But we never like to see that stop out, right? So it's fine. It's good stop out. Like, we only gave it that 15 cents. We changed it. Should have been 10 cents. We gave it 15. But look at it now starting to bleed downside. We did take a small short in Intel. I realize we have the same price, but I wanted 80. I'm waiting for more up there. Hopefully that will come in. I don't know.
I didn't want this.
But we'll wait to see if that comes through. Again, BABA, Intel, Apple. I'm waiting to see if there's anything here. Robinhood. Wow. Robinhood. What a day for Robinhood today. Up 7%. Nice day for Robinhood. Obviously, it's pulling back. Wow, that must have been up 8 or 9% today. As we talked about, like, getting relatively weak in some of these names, like Robinhood on a move down, kind of like DraftKings. Like, there's so much room to the upside on a lot of these plays. So watch out right now for Robinhood, looking like it wants to just continue to rip. It's not ripping now, but up 6%. Like, this bottom 34, 35. You went to $45 today. You know, that's almost 10. That's 30. 20, I don't like off the bottom. If we go 36s up to 44s, oh yeah, we have a tool there.
12%.
Exactly. It's not too much there. Whoopsies. So that like tool goes that way.
20%?
Yeah, it's, let's see what the math is on that. That's too high. Oh, no, I can't even see it because it's
not
over
even
there.
20%.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, nice move up there for that. Yeah, about 16, 17% upside for Robinhood just in the last couple of days. So great move higher. We do definitely like that name, Robinhood. Right there. Intel's trying to go back up, so I do have an offer here at 37s, which is basically that high. I'll take that. Well, then we'll watch out for VWAP. So, yeah, that's what we're working with right now. Let's see if it can print up for us. Printing up a storm here today on Intel shorts. Let's see if it will continue right now.
So you would have seen me with a quick in and out flat on NVIDIA. That's because I didn't realize I was still dip buying it. I had a bid in there. It would have worked, but Powell is left, and that was the last question. I didn't want that long, so I just got out of it instantaneously. I couldn't find anything on that CR whatever stock, so CRH. So I don't know. It doesn't really matter. If it's this big, I might take a shot at it. I'm going to throw it up because that's a significant amount of volume on it at 350. If that thing comes out larger than the imbalance we see, then you might see me jump into a short position on that. Intel holding under VWAP. I mean, it's the same kind of barcode. The last time it flushed back into the low, it spent about 12 to 15 minutes going sideways. So it's made this local top for 4 bars now. That's about what it did before it got to the low. That's just kind of how it rolls. If we get one more push down, like I think if we lose 20,000 on the NASDAQ, this is the M contract. I think if we lose that, no reason why you shouldn't get back into the bottom. But you're right, there isn't too much time. Sean, it's 325.
Yeah.
Tesla 237 close, says Sang.
Really?
Well, I'll tell you this much. I should have, my wife's out of town on business. She's been complaining about Tesla in her long-term account. I was like, well, then just sell the next pop. If you don't like the stock, then just sell it.
Yeah.
You know, that's my whole thing. I'm like, look, man, I own it in the long term, so if it goes up, we'll be fine in the long term. But if you don't like it, if you don't like a stock in your long term, just sell it. You can put the money to something else, man. Buy the index.
Yeah,
it's such a simple answer when you're like, well, this stock isn't performing. I don't do that enough myself, I think. But yeah, 237 at the close. I mean, it's at 237 right now. So I'm not sure.
Dealer's choice. I mean, yeah, like you could take. I think getting into ETFs right now, if you're a little nervous about this market and you think it's a bottom, I mean, maybe get into an ETF. You'll be a little bit, again, you'll be sheltered from like the 7 or 8% moves. I mean, if the NASDAQ goes 7 or 8% one way, I'd be pretty surprised. But at the end of the day, man, anything can happen at any time, including Palantir. We just tried a little small long here, seeing if we're going to hold 86. It now looks like it wants to hold 86 right now. So here we go, right back in for, there it goes. And there's the sell. So we'll slap a fail there. We tried it. Our last one, another 40-cent hit there on Palantir. There it goes, man. We were so right and yet so wrong because we don't have the trade on board with that move in the NASDAQ. You know, as soon as Powell left, we were waiting for that opportunity. We've smashed that before. Like, we've taken Apple like huge on the way down on that play. And
Apple was a great reversion.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised I didn't make that trade.
You said to short Apple, didn't you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I want to be judged based on the trades, not based on the ideas. Like, I should have shorted it. But again, me and you talk about so many names that, you know, it's like instead I said, here, I'm going to short Intel. And that one just goes, well, I guess it went 6 pennies in the money. Let's see if we can get a little more than that on Intel. But yeah, I do like Apple to the short side. But that's actually not, I didn't realize it got to 217.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I mean, it's just a complete recovery for the shorts. Nice downside play there for Apple. I mean, I'm almost thinking it's getting a little bit exhausted right now, top to bottom. But there it is. I mean, we were saying that why would the NASDAQ be up? I mean, we had a zero expectation of anything other than what we got. We were looking for no change. We got no change. And the market ripped up almost 2%. So there's the fade out there. You're always waiting to hope that Powell says something. And then the bears just come right back in, man, and win on the last half hour or so. So
I'll give you a double-digit stock that you didn't look at today that you'll be happy to hear is double digits.
I mean, I still don't own Starbucks.
R.
Oh, double digits. Oh, up double digits. Oh, I thought you were talking about, okay.
SMR. I saw some posts in the chat, and I meant to comment at the time. The mind was somewhere else while Powell was still on the podium. Yeah, the nuclear names giving a nice bounce. And what I love about this, we come to the chart.
Palantir's all the way.
If you like it, you buy it at the 200 period moving average, people. I didn't. Not this time anyways. But anyway.
One last try.
No, that's silly because good little bounce in here. But it's not over yet because this is so far off the highs. And anyways, have this one in the long term. So always happy to see it bounce. But I actually think the downside on that, it could still go down. And it could, if that got trimmed by 25%, I can live with it. I understand that's the kind of stock it is, and I've already taken some profit. But strong, there's so many moves. You said Hood today. SoFi was absolutely destroying it today. Come on, Intel needs to get back to the low of the day. SoFi was crushing it all day today. And, oh, goodness, what happened to SoFi? All right, well, it's still up 6%.
I covered half my Intel. I mean, although I do like it.
I just covered, yeah, I'm going to cover more. But what is SoFi, man? You were cruising.
Yeah, man,
SoFi was
now going for that bruising right now.
Yeah,
we need one time here. Come on, Palantir, one time. Monkey, if you're playing blackjack. 85.57. Let's see if we can get going. 85.50.
That's a new one, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good one, I think. 85.25. I was just looking to see where I put the stop. Let's go. Come on, man. All right, so there's a little piece out right there. We get a piece out at 75. Let's go, Palantir, man. We said one time. We'll take a couple times, though. We'll take a couple outs if we can get it. Let's go. 80's out. All right, here we go, man. Our stop was about 25 cents. We're now in the money 30. So good trade here. So far, so good. Anyways, as we get to back up to the upside, that looked a little overdone to me, a little overcooked. You guys ever played that game, Overcooked, on the Switch? Anyways, nice move up, 85.20, 85.92. Here we go. Let's go. Back up there to the upside for Palantir. Does it have a ways to go? Yes, it does. Is that the bottom? I don't know. So we'll take another piece out here at 92 if we're lucky enough to get it. We'll sit there and take this fill out. PLTR out at 85.92 or so. If we can get it, that's already our best out. Our best out is there it is. Our best out. Okay, so we just actually have a 91 and a 92. And here we go, Neil. Looks like it's going to be 50 cents now in the money. So we'll take that one. Half in the club today with that one. But yeah, so far so good over here with that
Intel's
short.
catching a little bit.
So we covered some Intel. I don't know what your opinion is.
I'm going to be out of 80% in a couple seconds if it hits the bid, and it didn't hit the bid. I'm going to use a midpoint.
Yeah, there we go.
Ew.
And you didn't need to, of course.
Exactly.
I know. I'm watching the same thing. So that's.
No, I went to like the midpoint and then just smacked the bid. But you get filled at the even when that happens. No, we just caught a bit of a buyer in here. I still have a bid at the absolute low of the day, and there was something I was going to say. Jameson was asking about in the chat about a wheat ETF, and I just said MSOS. What I was going to say to that, Jameson, just be careful because we've seen moves. Like CGC went kind of a little bit nuts the other day, and MSOS was doing nothing. So sometimes it just doesn't give you the most juice if you're looking for a tradable, something tradable in the wheat space.
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes you want one with like a short float to try to make an individual trade on. But Intel, I think this is the last salvo. If it goes up from here, too late in the day and too close to the imbalances to try to take another shot. And Nvidia's down at 118. Ooh, almost at VWAP. That could be something. I might take a VWAP bounce on not Intel, on Nvidia if it gets down here. It's almost there, actually.
That is exactly what we took right there. We're cooking right now. And shout out to all the gamers in the chat there. We talked about overcooked. Palantir was overcooked. And there it is, man. Look at that VWAP bounce. You got to stay where you are, man. You got to stay trading the names you believe in off the signals that you take, right? And so we take VWAP. But the thing is, we also take 50-period moving average. That didn't work. Bang. We also take 200-period moving average. That didn't work. Bang. VWAP finally worked. So, it's not... This is what I mean when we talk about trading, and that's why, I think the best answer to everything that we give you when we talk about P&Ls and all that, which is why we don't do it, is are we green on the stock? Because all of these chances, I know that Neil and I are very fortunate to be able to sit here and take numerous shots at stocks, and a lot of you don't have live level 2 opportunities, right? And so you have to be very, very specific with a lot of the different opportunities that you take. So I would say, again, we talk about going into sim mode, doing things like that, making sure that no matter what stock you're trading a style that you're comfortable with and trading amount of shares that you're comfortable with. Not me, not Neil, not anybody else. Trade your book, your game, because you could have just said, hey, the 50 period is what I'm doing, and then I'm out. That's it. Then you leave Palantir alone and look for the next trade. As long as you've back tested, and we said that, whatever, the back testing thing is what it is. We want you all to sign up with eSignal, but they do have one of the best back testing systems out there. So I would definitely recommend looking at an eSignal if you guys.
30 days free, man.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm doing, so the ad is coming up soon, but I was just talking about it from the heart. I really think that, again, a great opportunity to be able to sit there and back test your strategies, because you never know what's going to work, and you have to have confidence in whatever you're doing. And I think that back testing is an easy way to build that. All right, so Intel, actually, I didn't even realize it. It just went down to 13s.
Yeah, but it's bouncing again.
So I'm going to put in a bid down there in 17, see if we can capture some of that.
It's not getting to the low anymore. Is the best way to think about it on Intel. Keep fudging the name there.
Fudging the name.
Google Chrome, you are an absolute memory hog, because I'm going to throw it there. That didn't break 118. All right, well, you didn't break the low. Then I'm jumping right back in, so I misplaced that stop. You have to break underneath that, and it's an arbitrary number here. not this one, sorry, right in here, where we got that dip, the higher low. This was after the Fed came in at 117.80. I hate NVIDIA today because of this, and I had made a revenge trade that was not a smart trade. And I mentioned that earlier. You should not revenge trade because something annoying happened to you. There was a candle in NVIDIA where it was at the high and I was holding it through the high, and I had a break-even stop that wicked me out instantly, and then right back up at the top. So the first thing I did was punch right back in on the high break with that stop in there, which was silly to do. But I don't want to fight this. If we lose this bottom here at 80 in VWAP, then I'm going to jump out. I don't want an even dollar stop or right on the line. Like if there's a line at 117.80, then I won't put a stop at 117.79. That's just not how I roll. But if we lose that in earnest, then I want to be able to jump out of it. And as I said on Intel, it's still catching a little bit of a bid here in the teens. I'm bidding the low of the day. It just doesn't seem like it wants to go down there. I would suspect we still have 14 minutes to go, but I really think NVIDIA is going to have an imbalance. There's still a few big ones, but that CRH thing is kind of calmed down a bit. Ford's actually gotten smaller. NVIDIA almost always has a 1 to 2 million imbalance. In order to care, NVIDIA's imbalance needs to be like 4 or 5 million. Then it's a big one, at least, on NVIDIA. If it's 1 or 2, then it's not going to make any difference, I don't think.
All right. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun here today. Thank you for watching. I hope everybody's enjoying the show. Make sure you do hit the like and the subscribe. I wanted to check in to see how many people, but I don't know where the... oh, here it is right here. Oh, we almost got it. Who's going to be the 1,000th person to hit the like button? Right there. Thanks again for everybody for doing that. We really... I mean, it does mean a lot to us. You know, we sit here, we're talking about all of these trades. Oh, so... Now, this is something that, again, I'm trying to... Ooh, perfect. Well on time right now. I was just going to say, I'm completely changing. I just put my stop at even now for Palantir. And part of that is because that's where VWAP is. And no better of a software to be able to find where volume weighted average price is than eSignal. I mean, honestly, I feel like 500 symbols you can currently... Okay, come on, Palantir. You could chart over 500 symbols at once. It's been a great opportunity for all of us here on the show to do that backtesting, to use tick charts, minute charts, second charts, any kind of chart, Fibonacci lines. I don't know if they have Finobachis, but they definitely have Fibonacci lines. Volume profile, anything.
AVWAP.
Pick your, oh man, anchored VWAP, scanners, screeners, all of that. We love eSignal. Make sure you do scan that QR code. And again, I think in this market turmoil, you know, the worst market right now are the North American markets. I don't know if you've checked out Europe lately.
Europe is killing it.
Exactly. China's been killing it. So again, you can get, you know, with those markets with this platform, especially if you're here at Real Trading. Like, look, we love our charts, but there is no back testing. You cannot replay the day. You have to go back. You can go back days and days and look at stuff. But what I'm talking about eSignal is tick replay. You know what? If today wasn't Fed, how about this? Tomorrow, in and around 10:20 or something like that, tomorrow morning, I'm going to show you tick replay on eSignal, how it works, and just how good that is. So we're going to do that. And oh boy, we love the club, although I haven't been to one in forever. Oh, by the way, White Lotus, man, whatever club they were in at Thailand yesterday, I'm going to that club very, very soon. Well, that was a banger.
Okay, apparently I really need to watch this show.
You've needed to watch it for a long time, my guy.
I know.
It's pretty good. This season's really good.
I trust
There's
you.
some corporate stuff in it as well. Some guy almost there yesterday, so we'll wait to see if that does go down. But right now, Palantir, 70 cents in the money. We're really liking that one right there. But yeah, White Lotus, let me know in the chat if you like that episode. We just saw it last night. Pretty good. Tonight we have PWHL, so we got to go to the hockey game. But there's not much else.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
No, it's good. I mean, well, it's just, you know, that's, you guys gotta buy a beverage. You know, she's gonna want to get that. You gotta pay the parking. We're gonna run into so many friends. It's nice, but not a chilled night tonight in the Katina household. That is for sure. Oh yeah, it's all good things. All right. The problem is like Palantir is now $1. There's so many. She has, just because hockey, like you're on the team with 20 plus. Girls, right? Or
yeah,
I think that's actually 17. Yeah, so and then she's played on multiple teams, and they're all at these games. So
well, you know what happens? Like, it happened with baseball too when I was coaching Aaron. It's like the team, like one kid goes out for like ice cream after,
Oh, forget
Like
it.
one parent's like, oh, I'm taking my daughter I'm taking my son or daughter to ice cream after the game. Well, now guess what? Now you're all going because.
Oh, well, this guy goes to me yesterday for
man.
baseball because I coach the rep girls team. He's asking me about all these bats. What do you think about this bat? What do you think about that bat? He's asking about the Hype Fires, the Easton Hype Fires, which are the greatest bat. And he's like, oh, my daughter, I'm going to get that for my daughter. I'm like, great. So now they're great friends with my daughter, so it's $400 bat, but I don't know. All right, so we'll see.
That's actually.
Yeah, it's not bad, right? So
No, like I've heard some of the prices from some other that coach at higher levels that I know, and like some of it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It gets.
I mean, she's got a $250 hockey stick, so I don't know. I've lost my mind. Okay,
it's $340.
Yeah, Palantir Rip. Palantir's $1 in the money, so
We just crossed 20,000
stick.
again, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So
NASDAQ 20,000. I'm thinking if Nvidia goes head and shoulders, 119.25 goes head and shoulders. So there's the head, there's the first shoulder. So if it gets to 19.25 and starts to revert, I want to jump out of it. And then why am I still? It's so silly. We're saying Intel was catching a bid and didn't cover it all. Like there was a buyer down here in the teens. And again, just to shout out to eSignal, you can get level 2 access or if you want. Like that happens to be NVIDIA, what I'm on right now. But you'd be able to see that, read the tape, and know that there was a buyer down there and cover it all instead of just leaving some on there. So as the market bounces higher, no, I'm not going to reload this. It's too close to the imbalances. And we'll just stop it if it breaks this local high, which only happens if you adjust your stop order. So forget about VWAP. If it makes a fresh high, I'm getting out there. And like I said, 19.25 is like that lower high or the prior high before we broke it out. So if it gets in there to a head and shoulders, look for a bit of a reversion, try to take it out. That or 350 is going to be the exit for me on NVIDIA. If there's anything else that we missed, Stephen Bradley, why is Rigetti and QBTS not moved up with NVIDIA? Well, my concern with those is that Quantum Day is tomorrow. So like, I don't know, man. People can be excited to buy into that when sell the news has been basically how the week has gone. Like, look what happened to NVIDIA on their event. Like, would you want to buy into Quantum Day? It's whatever.
no,
I know I wouldn't because I feel like that would be a really risky place to buy. I think you wanted to buy into that on the last dip, not necessarily the day before. All right, I might just take this out here because 19's being a problem.
yeah, for NVIDIA. Okay.
I actually don't even know where QBTS is right now because I didn't even check. It could actually be doing some good things. So I shouldn't just stock without looking at it. Chilling at VWAP. Yeah, it's actually pretty strong. Nice trend trade. You could have bought this off VWAP too and it would have worked. That's another trade you could have just had. Look at it, respect VWAP before, look at it, respect VWAP after, and you would have had yourself a nice little scalp trade there on QBTS. But down 3% today, and I'm not terribly surprised by that before Quantum Day.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about. Look, I mean, yesterday I shorted NVIDIA 119 and went down to 114.50, and we did that as Jensen showed up. You know, a lot of people there worried about what he was going to say, all this, what jacket is he wearing, and all that. But as a trader, I think that was a good opportunity. So we'll look for that tomorrow.
I just always think the risk is the other way.
Me too.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's a lot of hype about this. And I mean, it's like, what could they possibly say? Most of, especially when you're talking about quantum computing, most of it is down the line, right? So you're not going to really get anything immediately. I see the super chat right now. What's up, Mo Beiji? Mo Beiji. Mo Money, Mo Beiji. All right, so he says FOMC meeting was, as Chris Cross would say, wiggity, 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 whack. He was heavily short at the top. So, you were heavily short at the top. I mean, that's perfect, right? So it wasn't whack, was it?
You got the high.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Thanks, Powell, for the flush to give me a green exit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're talking about, man. We just had St. Patrick's Day the other day, and green is a color that everybody likes in this market.
And everyone should wear for the entirety of the NCAA tournament.
Yes, Michigan State green. Oh, and then he goes on to say, P.S. If Sean wears his cap backwards, he immediately becomes 50% more gangster. The thing is, man, I'm already 100% gangster, so 50% more on that, then we're kind of already near the top.
My question was, what would get the other 50% if the hat backwards? Oh, glasses.
It's just in the blood, man. I mean, I already talked about this. Those of you,
Let's not start with these streets.
Neil still lives in Brampton.
Let's not start with these
I am
streets of
from the
Brampton
streets
nonsense.
of Brampton.
Yo, you wanna-
everybody, Neil, everybody knows this.
Okay.
Including yourself.
Okay.
And the thing is that, you know, you can take me out of the streets, which you've done. I don't live in Brampton anymore. But you cannot take the streets out of me.
Streets?
So you know what I'm saying? So anyways, thank you, Mo Beige.
I tell stories from like back in the day trading. I'll tell stories about high school, but you don't hear me tell any stories about the junior high that I went to, because those dudes.
Yeah, I was like the only white guy there.
The
you know what I'm
basketball,
saying?
like the basketball team I had in junior high.
Oh, shoot,
like you look,
I'm
I look
taller
back
right
I look back at the history of like where some of these dudes ended up. I'm like, I'm glad I didn't run with those guys in high school. I went to a different high school from like the feeder school, and I looked at where a lot of my friends from basketball. And this, you know, you're 12, 13 years old, and like where they ended up, and then my high school buddies, where they all ended up, it's like, yeah, it done worked out. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, we have a lot of high school buddies that have done real well for themselves. But, you know, we get to sit here and have fun with everybody every single day, and I want to thank everybody for all of this, man. I mean, we know exactly. I mean, I see some more. I can't see anything with these. These are polarized. I can't see. The mean streets of Canada, yeah, you know, where all the fentanyl just goes pouring on our streets, man. You got to control those borders, guys. Okay, so here it is right now. Sean Katina is one of Drake's hitmen. Remember there's that thing about,
and Drake,
you know,
got no hitman.
Pay my guy in a Louis belt. Okay, you know, I'll bring that tomorrow. All right, we miss Neil rapping. Yeah, I mean, that could be something. We used to do it for 1,000 likes. I mean, now we could do it a little bit higher than that.
Little fat on the Mac, and I'm back. Give you something that you never had.
Right.
Make you jump, pump, wiggle, and shake your rump. Because I'm kicking the flavor to make you want to jump. How high? Real high, because I'm busting. Anyways, I'm not going to do it.
No, well, you did.
We need the number of likes to usually do it. You said crisscross, so it was in my head.
It does make you want to jump. Right there, yeah. Thank you so much, Stevenson. I've actually never really, I love the way you trade. Thank you so much for that. How do you switch your bias? That's why I'm here. Look, man, we're like one of the head traders here at Real Trading, and I just have a lot of experience, a lot of good feels about the market. It doesn't mean we're green every day, but you know, sometimes you get that feels, and it's just like for today, for example, on that move down in the TQs, me and Neil, we already talked about this. Like we have seen Powell literally leave now 30 times, I mean, more than 30 Fed rates. And it's just like every time, no matter who it is, whenever they leave the podium, and that just started a couple of years ago with these Q&As, it tends to have this flush. So sometimes it's just about being a little bit confident there. Palantir, we're able to drop it, but then we averaged it. Like, see, this is what I mean. Like, it's great trades, but at the end of the day, we still lost there and we still lost there. Let's see if Palantir can make it back to the up. So with only 2 minutes until the imbalances.
The only big one left is NU is still 2 mil to sell.
Yeah. That's 2 million to sell?
It's 2 million to sell on NU, GM 1.4. All the big ones are gone. Like Ford was a huge buy imbalance, and now it's absolutely gone. But like to Sean's point, it's so true. And I remember when I first started as a trainee, the rule was the first time you watch a Fed day, you watch a Fed day, and you weren't allowed to trade it. But you had to pull something up and watch the tape. You had to. It's like observe it and find a pattern. Things are so different now because I don't think it was the same type of reversion with the whole podium thing, but it's just the way it is, man. And you got to be able to jump in both directions. I think there's always also inflection points, key price levels. If something flips at a key price level, then that's another good reason. So with 1 minute to go till the imbalances come in, we'll let you guys know if there's anything gigantic. I would suspect that you could see some big numbers. Obviously, Friday's going to be a heck of a lot bigger. Tesla to dump into the close, that's going to be anybody's guess. But I always tend to think, like, when you just pulled back $5, $6 on Tesla, that maybe you've made that move. I won't be buying it off of VWAP, but this is a rip your face off day for Tesla, and it's had plenty of selling. I'd be a little surprised if it dumped without an imbalance because the market doesn't feel like it wants to completely dump. It was just a nice pullback after a good rally.
All right, so we now wait for 30 seconds until these imbalances, and that's why we just got out at the 50 period right there. We only have 15% left of this VWAP play on Palantir with only a couple seconds. I've already got rid of all of them, so here we go. We'll watch it, and then we'll change it as we see it. We'll start to change. So we'll be on Palantir here now because I have those shares with now only 10 seconds to go. Let's wait to see what winds up happening here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I mean, we're expecting something anyways. Whoa, Palantir there just got a little bit clogged up. It looks like to the downside there. Broadcom, oh, that's going to rip.
That's a big buy.
It's going to rip Broadcom. I haven't seen this in a long time. That's not actually doing anything. NVIDIA with a small sell as well. So, yeah, it looks like it's pretty. I'm trying to find SMCI. Like, I'm trying to find names that maybe where the volume.
Remember, though, but Broadcom is one of the largest notional down weights on Friday.
Right.
So I'm not trusting a buy and balance on it.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't really love any of these. I mean, I'm just trying to see if there's any movement. Oops, not KDP. Apple. All right, so Apple, for some reason, feeling kind of ways there as well. Maybe on a sell.
Hertz with a big sell imbalance, 6 million. That's a garbage stock.
Everybody hurts, you know.
Everybody.
Yeah. So there we go. There is, based on what Neil just wrapped there, obviously a little bit of karaoke action there. We could talk about top trader, but I wonder who the top karaoke person would be.
If I get to pick my song.
Because I know Adara. Yeah, you can pick your song. That's what I'm saying.
I only do one song at karaoke, okay? And it's Rick James, Mary Jane. End of story.
No, but I mean all those raps. I'm saying like
you can't rap karaoke. It's not the same.
Why not?
thing.
You basically that's what you're doing.
Not the same thing. Karaoke to me is about singing horribly and doing it with a passion.
Well, then I'm one of the top karaoke players.
No, because Mary Jane, I'm not going to do it now, but that's my joint, man. Okay. Well, I mean, like, here's the thing. You know, when you karaoke, you want to try to come from the heart.
Right.
But also, when there's opportunities out there, we want to make, I can't even find it. We'll get it in a second. But you also, when there's ideas or opportunities out there, you also want to make sure that you present them. Hey, and we've got one for you. Meet VinFast.
Okay.
Vietnam's all-electric EV powers. How am I supposed to segue into it naturally? Driving a new era of global green mobility. In 2024, they delivered 97,000 EVs, and now they're on track to double that momentum.
Really?
With expansions in dynamic markets like Indonesia and the Philippines, plus fresh green series for commercial fleets. VinFast is electrifying possibilities. Powered by bold vision and proven execution, this emerging trailblazer is forging a sustainable future.
I will.
Fast, efficient, and impactful. Keep your eyes on VinFast, Vietnam's dynamic EV leader, rewriting the rules of mobility. Buckle up. The ride's just getting started. You remember that line?
I'm
just getting started. I got to shout out to you. Thank you for that weekend, by the way, because it's a whole story that I won't get into. But let's just say, no, there was, I needed, no, this is the dudes from Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they were staying.
Oh, my God.
My girlfriend in university, her roommate met some dudes at Caravana who all of a sudden were just coming up for a weekend while we're at university. I'm like, we don't know these dudes. I'm like, if we go out with them, I need a wingman in case something goes down. Nobody was around. I'm like, Sean, man, you got to show up. And this guy showed up.
I only showed up because no one was around. I mean, that didn't make me feel like
they were cool as whatever, but we were out till like 4 a.m.
You see who Neil calls for backup?
What?
This is what streets are we from? This is what I'm saying.
That homeless dude knows what's up.
These were like 6'5", like
no, they were big
dark,
boys, man.
Yeah, exactly. Big guys from Chicago.
Chains and everything. I'm just saying.
All right, man.
I'm just saying it was legit.
We got a dope ass read here coming up, Ramin. How about that one? Oh, not yet?
We got another ad?
I just blew it. Okay.
It was legit.
Right now, here comes Powell. Yeah, here comes Palantir.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that was a good weekend. That's for sure, or at least that night was. Anyway.
Because he kept saying, "Let's get it started."
Yeah, let's get it started. Yeah,
I'm like, we started
getting
4
it started
hours
already.
ago.
Like, you know, okay.
Anyways,
that's university.
That's another story.
Another day here as Palantir continues to go upside. 2, 1, let's go. Our friends over here at Trade the Pool are back, baby. So if you want to jump into that water, it's sometimes warm, sometimes cold, but there are sharks in it. Trade the Pool is a game-changing platform that caps your risk while giving you the opportunity to trade real shares using, guess what? Company capital, the best kind. That means no more risking your savings. Trade the Pool now offers unlimited trading periods during the evaluation phase. No pressure, no rushing. Take your time, calm down, perfect for your strategy, and get funded on your terms. Remember, your losses are capped at a one-time evaluation fee, and your profits are unlimited. Head to tradethepool.com to start trading today, and make sure you do scan that QR code right there for 10 points off. So thank you, Trade the Pool. And Neil and I, of course, sit here and do trade on Firm Capital as well with real trading. So, yeah, we know all about that. You guys can fire us off any questions about prop trading.
355. NVIDIA was a sell. It is gone. NVIDIA is now flipped.
Peace.
But it just went down. So sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. NVIDIA just went down anyways. It was a 2 million sell imbalance. It just went nowhere. And it's still heading to the downside. So maybe they do want to sell it off going into the close. But we're done with this with only 4 minutes to go. Catch us in the aftermarket show. It'll be myself and Adair. We'll go over all the wild action that you saw today, the moves in the futures, the great trading on the future, the moves that we missed out on this morning. Like some of the nuclear names were crazy. A lot of names and some of the finance names were pretty fire, for at least for a while. Thank you, SoFi. Probably gave us a selling opportunity that we didn't take advantage of, but that's neither here nor there. Tesla going absolutely nuts. And Nick, all I will say is this. It was a discussion about, and I think this is a really good idea, and before I get up to the desk, I'm going to finish with this. Nick, how did you guys start at Real Trading? Well, I can tell you we all did it was like our trader journeys. And all those videos are up and can be posted, so you can hear mine. Sean started with the firm. We're out having beers. I was like, this sounded cool, long story short. And I was like, I got to do this. And he made it sound really awesome. Also gave us the real. That's how I started. I can go into more detail. We don't have a couple minutes. Sharif never got a chance to do his. Joe hasn't done his. I think it's a great idea that we film those so you guys get an idea how we all started out, got into trading. Everyone's journey is a little bit different. But I'll tell you one thing. Regardless of how you started in trading or where you're at in your journey, you found the right place. Because trading can be a lonely game, especially if you're sitting at home doing it yourself and maybe you're just sitting in front of your screens. That's what Trader TV Live is all about. A fantastic community. You guys are the absolute best. And we're on every single day the U.S. markets are open. And we have the aftermarket show for you, which I'm going to go get set up for. No major earnings, but a ton of stuff to cover. That is for sure.
All right, see you. Yeah, you're out of here. Good luck with that, and have a great evening. And yeah, there it is. Thank you so much for Mishal here. Mishal, thank you so much for that, man. There it is right there. 219, thank you so much. Dear Sharif, Shawarma, Sharif, Sean, Neil, and Adara. So thank you so much to everybody right there. Man, I love shawarma as well. But yeah, good day today. Thank you. Support some of our sponsors there today, including everybody that we've talked about. And let's just talk about some of these trades as we get wound up right now into the close. We might as well just cover this. All right, so Palantir, I was waiting for the 200 period. Let's get out of another piece here at 06. Hey, maybe we do climb up there into the 200 period. If we do, let's just get out of it all. Ooh, that's 35. That's too high. We'll take 25s. How about that? Let's take 17s, okay? If we get up into I don't know why. Well, here it comes. Nice move upside there. We're long 85.57. We just bought this last trade. This is the only trade that we've had over the last couple minutes here, and that was involved. Oh, we did Intel, by the way. Intel. Wow, we're up on the stock, but we got that fill right away. And then on imbalances, it got stopped out and then all the way down. So if you're still in this and you're not sort of like worried about the imbalances, then you just have a nice trade there on Intel into the closing period of the day. Good trading, I feel like, there on INTC. Taking that short, we really picked on it, down 7%. It was the #1 trade idea here today to go short up at 25 and change, but that never came through. So we'll short it in the afternoon and a good level. I know Neil was also looking and interested in that short as well. So yeah, good trading. I'm just trying to figure this out. Only 1 minute left. I'm just going to offer out here at 02. Get punched out immediately there and now work with Palantir. It's gone. For anybody there that's looking at the imbalances, let's have another quick look at it just to see if there's anything on watch. Ford with a little bit of a sell-in. That's not going to be... Wow, Ford's now over $10. Congratulations for that one. That's nice. I mean, we like to see and cheer on Ford. Some of you traders were looking at that underneath 10, looking for a break. So I know we've made a little bit of fun on Ford, but a good play there for anybody that is on Ford. So there it is, Lucid as well. All right, I'm not going to do this anymore. There's not that much there. Let's see where NVIDIA closes the day at. Okay, a nice little drop off from 120. We'll wait for that tomorrow on NVIDIA. With only 15 seconds left, we do have a closing bell coming through your way. It will be Adara on the bell today. So again, Adara with a nice green jacket. You can't really tell there, but you can see the market is now up 1.27%. The bell is brought to you by Nevada Canyon Gold. Go check them out, NGDL. As we ring it into the close, looks like the NASDAQ, we don't have any earnings to go right into again, so we'll get ready to go tonight. I'll see everybody at Coca-Cola Coliseum if you are there for the hockey game tonight. All right, so the NASDAQ closes up 1.37%. That's good on what was a non-event for the futures today. It was a good event for the futures, but a non-event for Powell as they come out and say hold. He also mentioned there, not worried about the labor market. I was worried about that, just worried about getting into the recession. Obviously, nothing's indicating right now that jobs are at risk. But hey, look, real world economy and what Fed perceives is a little bit different. Jobs are like, you don't want to lose it right now. Credit card delinquencies still relatively low, but I do know there's a lot of household debt out there right now as well. So, hey, we got it. Hopefully rates stay where they are. It looks like we may get a cut at May, but May is quite a ways away. So get ready for it. All right, there we go. Five Below reporting right now. Let's go back over. If they're ready, Ramin, I'm ready. There are some reports coming out. So congratulations to Randy who won a free coffee and everybody who made money today. We'll see you tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. We'll say p.m.
Thank you very much, Sean. We've got Five Below. It would have been more interesting if it was going down because then I could have made a pun.
Five Above.
But it just went 7%, actually pulling back a little bit here. But Five Below, the first and only significant earnings name. It was supposed to be an implied move of 13%. You haven't really gotten that much from top to bottom. I think you had about 81, so it went about 10% to the upside, and now you're getting a little bit of a pullback. So Five doing what everything else did in the afternoon, which is rally on Fed Day. So we have a temp bottom being put into the markets, and maybe I jinxed it because Five Below is now underneath and below its high. Must have been a bit of a mixed number. I thought they beat estimates.
They're
and
pretty good, yeah.
They beat top and bottom here, Adara, but it's holding right back where it started here on Five Below.
Yeah, so 4% increase here year over year for net sales to $1.39 billion. That's above estimates of $1.386 billion. EPS also a beat, 3.48 versus $3.38 expected. Apparently, they opened 22 new stores and ended the quarter with 1,771 stores in 44 states, representing an increase of 14.7% here year over year in terms of how many stores they have. Operating income a little bit lower here, so $246.8 million versus $268.4 million, previously down about 1.5% there for adjusted operating income. Now, in terms of net income, also down year over year, so net income decrease here seems to be the biggest thing. Even this EPS number, a beat, but actually down on a year over year basis.
Yeah, I mean, if you're opening new stores, I guess that would be a good thing. I mean, retail's tough, but they give deals, so maybe this is going to be good. From the other side of Five Below, to keep in mind, 9% short float on this name, and because you should always look at the daily chart, well, it's been a bit of a rough ride for Five Below, below every major moving average, pretty much at 50 or on the 52-week lows as we speak. So, hey, if it doesn't break the low, there's only one place to go for you Five Below, and it doesn't really take much here. Obviously, I think, and we've said this before, I know it was a Fed day. We got no change. Earnings matter much more this year. Like, if people are afraid of recession, then show me the money. Right? Like, I want to see companies that are still doing well if we have a bit of a slowdown and are producing the goods and producing the numbers. So it's going to matter a heck of a lot more. With Five Below, it's got enough of a short flow, and it's down at these bottoms that, I mean, it can go like mini squeeze on even so-so report. But for now, it's still in the green. It's not really above that 80 level that it went to. But I think you get the perspective on a stock like this when you look at that daily chart that even here up 7%, that's nothing. I mean, this stock has bled, I think it was like 60 or 70% from its highs. So just try to remember that. But for this afternoon, Adara, I mean, I want to get your thoughts on you were on the desk for the Fed for the first time here
was.
today. It was wild action. And we always say this. We say usually the same thing, and we try to repeat it every single time there's a Fed day. Like the rubber band, pick the stock you like in a direction, the rubber band, so like let it make a range and then buy the dips or sell the rips if you're bullish or bearish on the stock. Once Powell hits the podium, look for the trend trade. When he leaves it, think the other way. Well, Powell hits the podium, higher low, higher low, higher low, and then go ham on Tesla. That's the trend. Powell leaves the podium, dump right back in. If you bought the dips on the established range, that also worked. Sometimes it just works like that.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, you could have just shorted Intel on every single pop because that trend stayed true as well. But it was a wild Fed day. How did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was different. This is my first time like doing it from this side of the desk. So previously, I've just been covering the conference and not the actual number itself. So that was different. Happy I got used to it. I will say, I heard you talking about the trend of the Qs. I drew my own fun trend lines and speed lines over here. So I think what was cool is you had, this is like the first initial trend, right? So bounce, bounce. Then look, we get below, we drop, and then look where we reject that. So I want to look at this trend line tomorrow. But yeah, really what happens if you drew these speed lines is so like I guess the steepest point, we drop here, then we bounce a little bit, then we come reject it, then we could through the second speed line, and then we're like RIP at that point. So that was, yeah, I had a lot of fun watching that. Did not get involved in that per se.
Leave that chart up for a second.
Yeah, I can.
I want you to leave that chart up because when I was doing like mean reversion trades or getting back into them, because I used to do it a lot when I traded penny stocks like a long while ago, and I was getting back into it, and there was a day in the afternoon show where Sean was gone and it was Obi and I, and we were both trading Shopify. And we
I
both,
remember that.
And so I had the line, I think, from like the entire move, and he had the steeper line.
Yeah.
So he got in the trade earlier, just like this. So if you zoom in there, like he had the trade at that point, and then I had the trade when it accelerated.
Yeah.
But it was basically like the same look. And what we realized in that moment was that is an entry and an add. It's like combine the best of both worlds. You're really looking at the same concept, but the other one's giving you confirmation of the break, and it's like nibble in here, add on that one for the confirmation, and then if it had bounced off that next trend line, you could get out. But yeah, you got to find yourself a bit of an edge. That's a great one in there. And the other thing you can do with that is, well, if you were long that entire move,
Yeah, then you want to reset your stuff.
that's your exit.
Yeah, like I said, I've been finding these trend lines to be a lot more interesting to be following as of lately. Like I talked about this Berkshire Hathaway trade I was in back on Monday, when the reason I liked it was because it just had these beautiful bounce off the trend. Even I got wicked out, but then when I saw we were still holding trend wider time frame, I had no problem getting back in and more than doubling my size, because it's like if you're seeing these trend line respect, it gives you so much confidence. On the other hand, if you're seeing the opposite, if you're seeing disrespect, then you want to get out. So I think for just the reasons you said, I think it's really powerful. Also, I don't know if we got a chance to thank Meshal for the super chat. Thank you very much for these. I think this might be Saudi Arabian. This $219.99. Thank you very much here, whatever currency this is. We very much appreciate you. Saying, dear Sean, Sharif, Neil, Joseph, Adara. Thank you very much here to you, Meshal. Thank you for supporting the show and for being here every single day with us. Now let's talk here about Five Below, because we have some more numbers here. We've got their guidance. So in case you missed it, they beat top and bottom line, but their earnings per share actually did drop on a year-over-year basis. So Q1 adjusted earnings per share here, 50 cents to 61 cents, above estimates of 49 cents. Revenue guide for Q1, also above estimates. Take care, Sean. For the fiscal guidance, though, this is pretty bad for the fiscal year, Neil. So they're guiding $4.10 to $4.72 versus $5.06 expected for fiscal 2025, well below estimates. Revenue, $4.21 to $4.33 billion. That's about in line with estimates here of $4.274 billion. So great guidance here for Q1. Very tepid guidance for the fiscal year.
Yeah, and look, I think as we were talking about earlier, maybe the reason why it's not dropping on that guidance, and it's still green, Five Below is still green. It could just be it's so bad, or it's been so bad that what's left for it at this point?
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, how much worse can it get? You're still growing stores. Maybe it's just enough that it can make a bounce off the bottom, because I feel like in this earnings season, if you've guided poorly, forget about it. You know, you're screwed.
That's true.
And I want to shout out to Mishal and thank you for that super chat. I can tell you right now, Mishal, maybe we'll use some of this. I keep saying we need to do a shawarma on Friday, so the super chats, as far as I'm concerned, are going to the shawarma place that Ramin keeps telling us is the best, and is the only place we should get shawarma.
Really?
And she's like, there's one place you can get shawarma in Toronto that's any good. I've never had a shawarma that was bad, but that's me because I like everything, pretty much. I'll eat anything. But yeah, there's one, and we thank you guys for Super Chats. All we ever ask is, A, tune in, B, enjoy the show, C, hopefully learn something, D, contribute to our awesome trading community, and to do that, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share it with your friends so we can get bigger and better. What I love about it is there's like stocks that I forget about.
Yeah.
All the time. Everyone was yelling about Robinhood and SoFi and some of the fintech names today during this rally. And it's like there's opportunities abound. Like you want to talk about a trend reversal trade. Yeah, the market did it all day, but look at the breakout early, right on the open on Robinhood, the trend reversion. Like that is a textbook trend reversion. And then the dip support after trend reversion, it then holds that higher low, breaks that downtrend, and then reverts back up, only to give you another one. Like if you like that reversion type model, you would have had one short there, and you would have had this long here, maybe even that reload, and then you could have had the short at the end of the day. Robinhood was a fantastic example. I mean, SoFi, notwithstanding the end of the day here, up 7% despite that little bit of a dump, and yet another stock went right into the 200-period moving average on the daily and bounced it nicely.
Wow.
Oh, and I got one more for you, because everyone was talking, there's a bunch of people that asked in the afternoon, what do you think about the NVIDIA death cross? Look at when SoFi made the golden cross. This was back here, and it was every now and then, I've said that I'm not a big time believer, and this is an indicator to get in. I think this was sort of setting up for a good long anyways. Candidly, I'm in SoFi stock, so I am talking my own book. It did the nice rounded bottom, the higher lows, a bunch of local breakouts. And when it held both major moving averages, you were getting a breakout of the top right here anyways. Like that's just a normal, good technical setup, regardless of that, I guess, golden cross. But NVIDIA's death cross, I don't think happened today. So it could, if we go down tomorrow, it wouldn't really take much. If you have a decent down day in the next couple of days, then you would have what is typically a bearish indicator here with NVIDIA on the death cross, the 50-period cross and the 20 simple on the daily. I can tell you the golden cross was a good long, but then everything was a good long in NVIDIA at the beginning of 2023. So that's completely insignificant. But maybe there's some people that are going to sell it on that. I think you had a good recovery. I don't think we're out of the water yet until we start getting back above some of those major moving averages. It was a really quick drop. Someone in our chat said the 5th fastest correction in the S&P history.
Really?
I tend to think the faster it is, the better the initial bounce would usually be when you have a rapid move to the downside. But we'll see. We got a little bit of a taste of it today, but it's only one day.
Indeed, only one day. Yeah, I think like I'm just looking at some charts here ahead for tomorrow because we actually have some decent earnings tomorrow morning. PDD we haven't watched, but I want to talk about Accenture because Accenture was a name. This is, I drew this trend line. I like this, like lower highs, lower lows, blah, 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 starting basically technically we kind of flatline a little bit early March. We really start this descent at the end of the first week of March. Then, of course, that selling on last Monday certainly escalates it. Then we start to bottom out here the end of last week, now making some higher lows. So, I found these support resistance levels on the daily chart. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But ACN looking good into earnings tomorrow morning. What about PDD? PDD is one that admittedly I have charted less other than like this very clear resistance area at 133. But hey, we're kind of heading into that. We had an uptrend heading into this 133. We reject 133, then we rounded bottom. So if we can continue holding support, yesterday was a little bit, or today I guess was a little bit of a step back because we had this bear flag. But I think if we can push into that 133, it could be an interesting look for tomorrow. So that is Adair's earnings minute. Another one here, DRI, for the people who trade spready tickers out here. This one can be really good on earnings day one. This 15-minute is super choppy, but I want to see if there's anything on the daily. This is one, though, that I know can give you some nice moves. And like their September earnings report, that was really, really nice. A little bit of a rounded top here on the daily chart. And we actually have a gap level. So I want to see what we do here at 180s. I'm going to probably draw a line there right now.
Shout out to Darden Restaurants. Yeah. Because my dad likes Ruth Chris.
Oh, really?
Well, I have words with him about what I consider to be a good steakhouse. Yeah. When I don't want to sound bougie or anything, but like what I considered good food when I was younger and didn't have any money at all and was broke and what you think is good steak now is vastly different. But you know what? I am a stickler because some places with a great reputation are ridiculously overpriced. I'm not going to name any names, but there's a couple in Toronto where I'm like, I will never eat there again because you're charging way too much, and that wasn't that great of a steak. But there are a few that are fantastic. I have one note on PDD, though. I feel as if, now PDD, Pinduoduo had a really great run where it was the Chinese retail name to own, but I look at it and I look at Alibaba right now. Again, I'm talking my own book, but I think this one's obvious. You tell me what's in favor between the two. That's Baba's chart. This is JD's chart.
Not bad.
And this is PDD's chart.
Yikes.
So, like, there's two ways to look at this. I think the optimist or the bull would say, yeah, but that just means it can play catch up on a good print if it breaks it out. The other part of me would be, well, maybe there's a limit to the upside, and I'd rather just be in the one that's stronger. Because it was a whole run. I remember the last couple of years, I was always constantly saying, look at the chart. PDD is the better one to own. Like, that's the one you should buy in the dips, not Baba, despite the fact that I was in Baba. And it was always true. But I think you got to respect it. I think you got to respect the fact that it is not the strongest in the group. JD is local to a breakout, so maybe on sympathy, like you've got the earnings high on JD and the 52-week high coming up. On sympathy, that could maybe break out, and it's just been a stronger stock. So nothing against Pinduoduo. I'm not here to poo-poo on a company or a stock, but the charts don't lie. And sometimes when you're playing a group, just play the strongest name in the group. Like that's just the better way to go. It's why I don't like the miners in crypto, everybody. Because why would I want to be in the thing that is weak? It's just not the way to go. David in the chat, yeah, buddy. Steak talk makes me want a good, rare prime rib. I will not be eating prime rib tonight. As a matter of fact, I was complaining out loud to Sean in the middle of the day that I have no idea what my daughter and I are eating for dinner tonight because I didn't think of it, and I'm not even sure what we have. My wife's away for the week. But we have no activities this afternoon, or this evening, so I actually can figure something decent out. I know what she's going to ask for, and I really do not want to eat KD, so it's not going to be that. But I'll figure it out. It's not going to be prime rib, I can tell you that much. But I want to get to some of the ETFs here just for a quick little second. And the crazy action that we've seen the last couple of days, specifically in URA. And I know we had Michael Noss come on and talk specifically about this, that you have found a very, very significant level, it seems like, in uranium. And I don't wonder, like you saw the bounce in here off 23, 24, if you go back on a weekly chart, the 24 level has been the more general area, but it looks like it's in the midst of a recovery. And I say that because we were talking about like the module, like the new scale, SMR. You can look at some of the others in the group. I look at SMR because it's the one I happen to own. Sean's in it too. And the way it's bounced post earnings, so you get the earnings low, you get the 200 period hold. This is another name. And I'm hoping we can sustain this move. You want to see some confirmation on it, holding this 19 area, which is kind of underneath that, but holding that 19 to make another bit of a run. I like the low that you put in. I think if you close the week above the 200 period, there's a swing opportunity, especially with URA holding at a key level as well. And then you have the more squeeze type names. Hello, 21% short float. And I'm not saying it's going to rally forever. I don't think we're in that type market. Like I said, I don't think the market's out of the water. But if we can just break the 50 again, get into the mid to high 20s, that's good enough for another leg up here on SMR. But it starts with that bounce in uranium futures. There's another thing that I wanted to get to, and this is because you mentioned Berkshire, and that's a stock you like to trade.
It is. Well, I've traded it like the one time, but it was good.
You've traded it one more time than I have ever traded it.
Really?
I've never traded Berkshire.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's entirely untrue. There was one day years ago when it was an imbalance on it, and it was an imbalance trade.
Yeah,
I traded it for like 1 minute at the close. And then they held the print for it was the longest I'd ever seen them hold the print. They didn't print it until like 15, 20 minutes after the market. It was wild because CNBC was up and everyone was around the Berkshire post because they hadn't given the print yet. So the entirety of the NYSE floor, anyone that had lingered, was just starting to merge. Like, where is it going to print? Because usually that wouldn't happen. Anyways, that was a long time ago. I digress. Berkshire breaking out to fresh highs. This is really on one right now.
Oh, yeah.
And this is like, I do own some, but it was a long time ago. I can't even remember when I bought it. I promise you, I just didn't buy enough and I should have continued buying it. I usually buy the indexes, but there's something which is continuously breaking out. My one concern would be if it's been a nice little flight to safety in Berkshire and the financials have done pretty well as well, like what happens if the favor comes back into tech? Does Berkshire get a pullback? But I think that would be good for you trading it there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is, like, I don't like to have biases for things longer term. I just don't, because I don't want to get caught up. And I think also having biases for things like even intraday has kind of hurt me. What I'm seeing right now is actually like we had this really nice, after basing out for a bit here the first part of March, we have the sustained uptrend as the rest of the market's selling. But right now, we're actually pretty range bound. Like we've got a base here around 521, 21, 21, which was a huge support resistance level back on Monday when I was involved in it. And now we're topically turning. So I would probably want to see like a break of this high. Like even today, the highest we got here was just this pop off the open. We have not made new all-time highs since yesterday. So if I was going to get involved in this, I would want to see this strength, I guess, continue. Or as you mentioned, potentially for the short side, if we break that 521.21, like short to me.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. It's like, well, if it's got this little bull flag in there, and if everyone rotates back into some of the tech names, and that continues, well, maybe you can slip something in there in Berkshire. And then for the dip buyers out there, it gives you an opportunity to buy the dip. Because if you are of that ilk that any rotation back would be short term, then you might look to go to those sort of safety names to be buying any dips. Like maybe you're thinking about gold, which had a pretty... GLD was on one, it broke highs. Everything broke highs today, I get it. But there's breaking highs on Fed intraday, and then there's actual things that are breaking highs on a daily chart or a weekly chart, right? So you get Berkshire doing it, you get GLD doing it. It's not a host of things that are making new fresh highs, everybody. And you want to pay attention to the trend. We had Raheem on this morning talking about not just gold and silver. He was talking about some other metals as well. He was talking about steel and copper and how they all differ. Some barcode, some are tariff protection plays. But ultimately, it's undeniable what gold has been able to do here, whether you like it or not. That's been an absolute opportunity for everybody out there. Just big shout out again. I keep seeing the super chat that in from Michal.
Yeah.
And I've made myself hungry with A, the shawarma talk, B, then the steak talk, and C, the fact that Adara still has some of her lunch sitting right next to me, which is just a testament to how hard you worked today. But did you get any good trading in, as busy as you were?
Not really. There was, I will say, I'll be honest with it, Netflix actually looked really spicy. There was one, I don't have my people weight up still, but there was this one, like when it broke through view up, I took this short there around like 9:51. I noticed us really stalling on the 15-minute chart. Set that short there into, I think, like 9:47s, and I got out. So I was like, whatever, it was fine. Happy I took it. Yeah, today was a little bit rougher for me, but you know what the great thing about the markets is you always have a new day to go. I was under the weather. I don't think I realized the extent to how under the weather I was feeling also till later in the day, which never helps. And again, that's not to make excuses. It's just like check in with yourself, see how you're doing. You can have plans, and they just don't work, and that's fine, but just be aware of that. Happy that I still got my toes wet in the market and ready to see what tomorrow has to offer as per usual. There were some things that I was watching that I tried to get in when the market flushed and Powell. Like I was trying to get into the Qs on that trend break short, and then the Qs would not let me in. So like, it is what it is. You have to focus on your priorities. As I've always said, I continue to say my priority 100% is on delivering the news. I'm lucky I'm on this floor and I get these opportunities, but I'm always going to want to make sure that I'm giving you guys news first and foremost. Reddit I watched that yesterday, but I totally missed this today.
Well, a CompuCare team made a point here that I'm just going to, which I agree with it. I notice when you buy the dip, it will go deeper. In a general sense, that's true, right? Because if short-term trend is down, it's what the probability. What's the most likely thing for the market to do tomorrow, whatever it did today? What's the most likely thing for a stock to do in the next 5-minute bar, whatever it was doing in the previous one? Like that's the general thesis. It's not always going to be that simple. Sometimes you want to buy the dip, but patience and position size are important if you're not a momentum trader. Now, and this is because I have to talk about Reddit today, because anyone that watched the show yesterday, Reddit was down 13%. I said at the end of the show that Reddit prior day low was 108, and then it was a few days before that 105. And because it was SSR and short sell restricted uptick rules in effect, I'm looking for the mean reversion trade on Reddit off 108 or 105. It didn't work off 108, so that's fine. I lost on that trade. More on that later. It did work off 105 if you come to my chart, and it worked like gangbusters. I mean, it was absolutely perfect. The problem is, I haven't traded Reddit in a while. And so it's not as liquid as it used to be, at least what I remember it being. So the liquidity when I was taking the trade, the bounce, it didn't work. Now there was a slight bounce off 108 as you can see here, but it wasn't much. The liquidity on that bounce, when I'm getting it as it's still weak, no problem getting your position. And that's where I lost. But when it made the turn, getting in without having to chase it, I couldn't get in. So despite the fact that it did the rally that I wanted, and I did get in, I just wasn't able to get the position I wanted. And that's an important thing about any trading strategy. You want to make sure that, you just make good decisions and then grade yourself on your decisions. And then once you have a process that works based off of that, then you can worry about scaling all that stuff. But there is a limit to any strategy, and that is liquidity. Yep. Share size is completely irrelevant except for liquidity. Like there's no limit, well, I shouldn't say irrelevant, but there's no limit to sort of how much size you can take, it's how much your account size is, and it's the liquidity on the stock. And so the problem becomes if there's enough liquidity on a mean reversion when you're getting it wrong, but not enough when it turns, well then maybe I can't execute it on that stock. And that's the difference between it and say like SMCI, where when it reverts, no problem. You're going to get filled where you want, how much you want in SMCI, and you're going to get your move. And that's the thing that you have to differentiate between sometimes is, well, okay, well, is the liquidity sufficient for me to scale this strategy? And if the answer is no, then stop doing it. Because there's no point developing a strategy that you can't eventually scale on because there's a lack of liquidity. I've had that discussion with traders before. It's like, well, that's great that you're winning on this, but can you eventually ever scale it? And if the answer is no, even with good decision making, you couldn't scale it, what can you do? Before pre-split, I had to stop trading SMCI because after a winning trade, and I've said this before, after a winning trade, I trailed out of it, realized the slippage was way more than I was anticipating. I was like, oh, I can't scale this ever, based on the slippage I got there. How I was trading it actually wasn't good, despite the fact that was up, because it was going to lose more had it been wrong than I was anticipating. Anyways, I hope that wasn't too much of a ramble, but anytime I see that, and shout out to CompuCare team for that good point I think that you made about how share sizing is important, timing is important on your trade. Having a strategy in the first place is always going to be important. I know it's already 4:27.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah, like time. We didn't even have a guest, and I managed to rumble our way into 4:30. But just to recap, Five Below, despite the poor guidance, right back up to the top. So keep in mind this name. It's a 9% short float. It's not like it can get all that much worse. It's pretty nasty on the daily chart. Now, I wouldn't classify this as a trend break at all. On the daily, it is very much still a downtrend, but it's still a local breakout that you would at least surmise would have some room to 89 is the 50 period and the 200 periods at like 93. That's a pretty sizable range with a 9% short float for it to be able to do something tomorrow. And if you're into that kind of a trade like the like a post-earnings trade, you're always looking for the earnings names, then this is your only one out there, and it's one that I think is worth watching. And of course, as you mentioned, before the bell tomorrow, we're going to get into a duo, and then after market, it's going to be Micron, FedEx,
Nike,
and
Lennar. And I keep calling them accidentally either Nikron or Nike, but they are Nike and they are Micron, and they're doing earnings tomorrow. Also, I have an infographic on the way that I forgot that I was working on, but will hopefully be released by tomorrow, showing the different stock performance under Nike's various recent CEOs. Ooh. And there's really only one that did super well with it, but you'll have to find out who tomorrow.
I love those infographics. Keep them coming, Adara. But you know what? Actually, those fun and amazing infographics that Adara keeps putting out for us in the Trader TV Live research, they're going to have to stop. No, they're not going to stop. No, but the easy way to show your appreciation for those and to keep them coming is hit the like, hit the subscribe, not just to show appreciation to Adara for the hard work that she puts in, but to the entire team. And there's a little something we do to show appreciation to you, all of our viewers out there. And if you're tuning in for the first time post-Fed, It's the roll call at the end of the show. And this is where Adara in Rapid Fire reads all the names in the chat. But you know what? To be in the chat, you have to be a subscriber. So hit that like, hit that subscribe right now. Get yourself in there, and everyone give a big shout out to a single, pick a member of the team, whether it's Fabian, whether it's Ramin who wants us to get shawarma on Friday, whether it's Joey Options or Sharif, Brendan, Adara on the news desk, my homeboy Sean. As I said, the wingman at university was a crazy weekend. One of these days we'll opine and maybe tell the entire story. It was a heck of a lot of fun. He's a great wingman out there. Give a big shout out to Obi who fills in a bunch. Andre on our socials. Bears versus Bulls, the best moderator out there. So everyone hop in, make sure you do that, and let's get some roll call.
And thank you so much for everyone for being here. We have, of course, as always, Neil, Sharif, Joe, Sean. Shout out to Obi, shout out to Fabian, Ramin, Andre, shout out to Brendan. And shout out to Joe. And also here, Bears versus Bulls, thank you for everything you do every single day. Thank you to the Piper, Nephew with capital P, DJ 2 AM, Afterstar, Monty G, Poyos Hermano saying be well. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm a little unwell today. A little sick. It's okay. Bob S, PMG, Sir Poopy Paper Hands. We've got Bob S. We have Monty G, Afterstar, Johnny H, Never Always Ever. We've got Compy Hair Team, Daniel Welch, Cable Williams, I Speak Spanglish, got Rats, Day Trader Cut, Dinkelberg, Carl Gruen. You got David Treziak, Patrick Irving, CD B, Caleb Williams, more on Wall Street, Bora Hout, D. Westermeyer, and we've got Sebastian Ontiveros, Acu Guy. We've got, Los Players Mendes again. It's a lot of repeats, but thank you guys so much for being here with us every single day. One more Garov in the chat as well.
Yes.
We will see you guys tomorrow. Also, I want to do a quick shameless self-plug for our TTV research account. I just put this out today. If you're ever hearing about Fed speak, and you're like, who are these nameless people, faceless people that are speaking? I made this. This is an entire who's who of everybody who is on the Federal Open Markets Committee. This is in, so here we have Fed Chair Powell, of course. Then you've got the governors on either side of him. These two are people involved in vice chair capacities, though Michelle Bowman has yet to be confirmed, but she's been nominated. And then all these little guys below are all the ones we hear talking about on a regular basis. These are just the president of the Fed banks. We have 12 Federal Reserve banks. These are those 12 presidents. So that's a quick rundown, I guess, on how the Fed is governed. And you can check this out on X at TTV Research if you want to associate names to faces next time we hear a slew of Fed-related speakers.
Well put. And by the way, Neil Kashkari spells his name the wrong way.
Yes.
Just going to throw that
Agreed.
out there. What up, Neil? No, I'm just joking. It doesn't really matter. Some of them, the other thing you want to consider is sometimes you have members that are hawkish or dovish, and when they're speaking, it can be good to have an idea which way they lean so you don't overreact and anticipate the comments they're going to say. I want to thank you, Mr. Westermeyer, for the 42 points that you just gifted. I know why you picked 42. I love Jackie Robinson. That was one of my heroes. Obviously, for a lot of people as well. And I want to make sure that everyone remembers, I forgot to thank Bears versus Bulls, but you're the best moderator out there. Can never forget you. And because someone asked, tomorrow is NVIDIA's Quantum Day. So when we say Quantum Day, NVIDIA's Quantum Day is tomorrow. So there's a heck of a lot to be ready for. Post-Fed action, earnings action, trading, fun banter, maybe some shawarma, probably not till Friday, and NVIDIA's Quantum Day. All for you live tomorrow at 8:30. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See ya.